0 o'clock. What is going on, everyone? So, welcome to my latest live stream. I am once again joined with Sergey of SkynetGen. Sergey. And Marv was supposed to be joining us today, but last minute he had some, previous plans with some lady friends. So, Marv is a man that is very go with the wind, as many of you probably know. And
go get him.
rumor is that he's going on a date to see Alien Romulus a second time. That's
okay, that makes sense. We'll allow it.
We'll allow it. But Sergey, how you doing today?
Good. It's been a busy week, so finally getting a chance to sit down and relax today before I have to go to work. Yeah.
Day you did a doubleheader today, right? At the movies.
What's that?
You did a doubleheader at the movies.
Doubleheader of Transformers 1 and Speak No Evil. Both were pretty good, actually. Transformers 1 I really enjoyed, which is odd for me to say because I haven't really enjoyed any of them outside of maybe the first one. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. It was I like the animation, the humor. It was very entertaining. The voiceover work was good. So I actually wouldn't mind watching another one of those.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like I have to catch up on all my animated films this year, but so far this is one that's been sticking out for me.
You think it could probably get a Best Animated Feature nomination?
Yeah, it's not going to win, of course, but yeah, it would. Like maybe later today I'll watch Inside Out too, but
Inside Out 2, I think I might have mentioned it before. I think it's an okay movie, but I think it's so important because I can see so many like kids watching it and like just being introduced to like anxiety and how like it's okay to have it and that adults have it too, and that it's good to be aware about it at an early age. Like, I don't know, there aren't really any other animated films that tackle it, but the overall movie I thought was just okay, but I still respect it. Like, it's one of those instances where if it does win Best Animated Feature, despite me giving it only a 3 out of 5, I wouldn't be totally angry.
Right. I still do have to see like some of these other animated films that are coming out. The Wallace and Gromit movie. The other
I'm excited for that.
Film. Then there's also like one little anime film that I have to see, and then there was one I missed. It was called Orion in the Dark.
Oh, I saw that.
I don't know. Maybe that would get some traction.
That was very enjoyable. Like, Charlie Kaufman was a co-writer, and it's one of the it's an interesting film because like it has that kid energy to it, but then at the same time, like seeping in the background, there's like that Charlie Kaufman existentialism. So it's very interesting, and I think that the ending, like the overall theme that it's trying to hit home, I think it's like it's really important, and I think it's good. Like, I didn't think it was amazing. Like, it's definitely flawed, but I quite liked it, and that's like another instance where it's like I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's how I was with the Transformers movie. There was obviously a lot of kids there. It's kind of marketed to be kind of a kids movie, but I think the adults enjoyed it more than the kids, and I laughed a number of times.
And that makes sense because they probably grew up with the 80s, like.
Yeah, if you grew up with the 90s, animated series, you'd probably enjoy it.
Let's talk Speak No Evil though, because I know last live stream, I know shortly after, I know you had watched the original Speak No Evil, and then I watched it, and I know we disagreed about it.
Yeah,
which is why I'm curious to hear, because I haven't seen the remake yet, the American remake. But what are your thoughts on the American remake? Spoiler free, of course.
Right. So this is one of those instances where I wish I hadn't seen the original, because I think I would have enjoyed the movie a lot more. Like, I still enjoyed it. I think it's a much better movie. It does a lot of setup much better. Obviously, the acting is better. The budget's bigger. I even like the camera work a little bit more here. There's just some ideas here that I was like, this is a missed opportunity. And if I understand why they do it, but I think there's more of a lingering effect in the original than there is here. And because I'm expecting those from the original to be here, I'm like a little let down, even though I did enjoy this movie. I think it was really good. And if it did stick to some things that the original did, it would have been in my top 10 this year.
Oh wow. Yeah, because the original, I think that that effect of it being a slow burn and building to that like final 10 minutes, like I don't know, it just a week later it's still kind of stuck with me, you know.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it reminded me a lot of like a Michael Haneke film, Funny Games. Like
Yeah, that's why I watched it right
I
after.
know ironically you saw the American remake of that, but the original Funny Games, like I felt so conflicted about because I thought it was just okay, but the way that it was structured was interesting. So I had that like conflict, which
But see,
made
with
it.
those two movies, they were made by the same director. They were shot for shot. There was no changes really. It was just to service American audiences because they didn't want to read subtitles. Versus the original here came out literally 2 years ago and was in English. So what was it?
Same writers and directors though. I don't know if you knew that.
Okay.
Yeah, like which is interesting because I don't know. Like
It just
I'm
it feels like a safer movie. I'll tell you. I'll say that.
okay. So all right. I mean, I'm keeping my expectations like an open mind because I do like James McAvoy and the
Yeah, he's
director did.
great. He's great. Mackenzie Davis is really good.
They're
Like I
both good.
said, yeah, performances, like I said, are better. There's a lot going right for this that is better, and most people aren't going to enjoy it because they've never heard of the original.
Yeah.
And the
I mean, I
original
didn't.
really, like the original, really annoyed me because I didn't like the initial setup. I didn't find it believable. I didn't like the characters. Um,
Which is funny because the director, like that whole situation actually happened to him.
yeah, well, in the movie here, it takes more time to develop the characters and you find the situation a little bit more believable in this case.
Um, I guess because like, I mean, in terms of like humans, like I know humans make a lot of like kind of decisions, especially for like social cues. But I was able to accept it even more because I know like for the original with what it was focusing on, like that specific, kind of individuals. From what I understand, that it makes sense like in that context. But yeah, I don't know. Like I'm excited to watch
I mean,
the
most people did enjoy it. It's definitely an edge of your seat kind of experience where you're rooting for characters and they're making these decisions. You're like, what are you doing? So
yeah. But honestly, like horror is the perfect genre for that because like it's tackling like the human experience. And I feel like with any other genre, you really maybe romance, but I feel like there's not any like an action film genre. You really can't do what they do in like the horror genre. I feel like,
this
and that's
movie
why I always
also
come back
did
to it.
it. This movie also did make me laugh a few times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, by the way, we have a lot of comments. Film Kid says, "Hey, what's up, Film Kid?" Ace Blitz is in the chat. What's up? Still on Sons of Anarchy, season 6, episode 2. Just Guerrero says, "Hey," and then Ace Blitz, of course. Marv is watching his favorite movie again. We all know how Marv loves Alien Romulus. I really do hope Marv watches these streams like
Oh,
back,
I can't wait till we get an Alien versus Predator reboot.
and then Marv's going to be there day one.
Yep.
Film Kid, are you going to see Blazing Saddles tomorrow? No, I actually. One, I know it's not included with AMC A list, and two, I actually, in preparation for my Mel Brooks director ranking video, I actually rewatched Blazing Saddles like a month or so ago, so it's still fresh in my mind. But I do know it's getting a 4K physical media release, so I'm curious how that's going to look. Film Kid, I'm a kid, and I thought Inside Out 2 is really overrated, and I haven't seen Anxiety. Yeah, I mean, I was talking to a friend about like the term overrated, and it's like I feel like the term overrated is overused. I'm like, because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, if someone praises a movie and it's like if it's across the board, like people give it a passing rating, it's like, there's just a lot of like context. I think because I think Inside Out too. I just think that the themes just really hit for so many people. But I don't really think that everyone's saying that it's amazing. I think that everyone's at least acknowledged that it's okay. Because, like, for example, if I was a critic that was on Rotten Tomatoes, like I would give it a fresh rating, but it's like it would be a 3 out of 5, so it would be barely fresh, you
I mean,
know.
if I heard that it was amazing, I probably would have already seen it. So And it's been out for how many months now?
Yeah, it's been out for several months. I mean, it did really well in the box office, which I was happy about because one, again, with the message that it's tackling, but then two, it's getting people back in the theater. It's the same thing with Deadpool and Wolverine. It's like it's getting people in the theater, so I'm happy that that's happening. Ace Splits, I think the best representation of anxiety is Mr. Robot and BoJack Horseman. I do agree with that, but I also think that in terms of like for younger kids, like younger kids can't really watch. I mean, I guess they technically could watch them, but it's like I feel like it would go over a lot of people's heads. So it's like that. I think is like for more like I would say 16 and up. But for people that are like elementary school, middle school, and it's like they're still figuring that kind of stuff out, I think that something like Inside Out 2 would be fine. Again, not amazing. I'm not going to sit here and say it's amazing, but I think it's all right. Film Kid, I rewatched Ghost in the Shell, and I went from a 4.5 to a 5 out of 5. I like it more than a lot of people. It's one of my favorite anime movies. Yeah, I've seen it only once, but I quite liked it. Sergey, I think you said you thought it was just okay, right?
I thought it was okay, but there was a lot that I liked about it, like the world building, the
Oh
score.
yeah.
The score really stuck with me. I kept listening to that over and over again. So I know just for that, I would revisit it, and I do own it on 4K. It was like $8 on Black Friday.
I know I need to pick it up in 4K. It's a really good film. And I
Yeah.
do love that Film Kid, like when you watch a film and it's like the rating goes up because that happened to me yesterday. Road to Perdition was a film that I think the last two viewings I gave it like a 4.75 out of 5. And yesterday I finally was like, you know what? I gotta give it a
Finally,
5.
finally, Chad.
Finally. I know. Look, there are some times where I'm like, do I give it a 4.5 or a 5? So I give it that 4.75. But not
I still have
yesterday.
to see it.
I don't know if you would like it. It's a gangster film. That's like one
And
check
you're over
mark.
here sending me clips of the movie. I'm like, I am not watching this.
Because I'm like, I sent you the clip because I was like, look at the cinematography. Like, this is just insanely
It's funny
good.
because I've seen that clip like twice, I think, and that's the only thing I know about it.
It got an Oscar win actually for cinematography, which deserved. I mean, there's a lot to study about the film. I just think it's a shame because it got a bunch of Oscar nominations, but it didn't get a picture nomination or director. And I think it's just because you hear people loving it, but you also hear some people just saying that it was boring. But
It's not a 3-hour movie, is it?
no. It's
Okay.
it's an hour and like 57 minutes. I think the only way you might like it is that the gangster stuff is kind of toned down. It's there. It's definitely there though, and it's definitely like Godfather esque, but it's mostly about like a father son relationship, and
Okay, I like that.
that aspect I absolutely love.
I mean, I enjoyed Public Enemies. It's kind of like that, right?
And at the very least, I think you would give it a 3 out of 5 because Thomas Newman's score is
Okay.
amazing. It's a film that's very well put together. So it's like even if you don't necessarily enjoy it, the filmmaking is just. I mean, it's Sam Mendes, like
Right. You
so.
said did it have a Best Picture run?
No, I think it was close because it got like 6 Oscar nominations, and it was like a bunch of different like technical aspects, like sound mixing. Let's see, sound mixing, cinematography, supporting actor for Paul Newman, score. I forget what the other two were, but yeah, it's a really, really good film. I
Well, I
love
have to catch up on all these award statistics, which segues me into the book that I got.
Oh, you got that
Yeah.
one too.
Yeah, I decided to pick it up on Thrift Books. I had it for like $7. I'm like, I need to catch up on all my award-winning films.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, I love that book, man. Which edition is it?
I think it stops at 2014.
Oh, okay. So yours is more up to date than mine
Oh
because
yeah,
I got
okay.
mine I think in 2012.
I
Oh
think
no,
that's a good
2013. So
start.
it was,
I think 2014 is a good start because that's when I really started getting into like award nominated films and paying attention to that. So
that's fair. Yeah, I mean, it's also great because you come across some like films that you might have heard about, but it's like, oh, it got this nomination and this win, so it's like, let me check it out, and then you're able to cross off your list and either does something for you or doesn't. Joseph Guerrero says Mr. Robot is my top 10 series ever watched. Yeah, it's for me, it's number one, but I'm glad to hear it's top 10 because it
I
doesn't get talked about
I
enough.
actually just started watching season 2.
Oh, nice. Which episode are you at?
I just watched the first episode yesterday, and that's it.
Okay. I don't know I'm curious to hear how you'll like it because I know season 2 is pretty divisive, but I loved it. I didn't love it the first time, but it grew on me on second viewing. Film Kid, and I just watched Stand By Me, and oh my gosh, it blew me away. I'm the exact age as the kids. Oh wow, so it's probably like really relatable then. Sergey, did you watch Stand By Me?
I think it was in school years ago.
Oh wow,
It's been a really long time.
yeah, I think I saw it summer of 2014, so it's been like a decade for me.
I don't even remember who's in it. Was it like Sean Penn?
I think I think
Kiefer
River
Sutherland?
Phoenix is in it. I'm pretty sure
Oh,
he's
River
in it.
Phoenix. Yeah, he's in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember liking it. It's a Rob Reiner film.
Yeah, I remember parts of the movie, and then of course the ending.
I don't remember a thing, to be honest. I remember
Really?
thinking it was good, but
Even when Family Guy parodied it.
I actually don't think I saw the parody for it.
No?
It's one of those films where I never I watched it once, but it didn't really stick with me. And it's funny because another Stephen King adaptation, The Mist. I remember I started watching it. I think I got like 20 minutes in and I fell asleep, of course. And the ending though, I remember waking up to, and it was just like, oh wow. So like I want to actually watch The Mist all the way through, but like that ending just it's incredible, man. Like, have you seen that film, The Mist?
Is that with Naomi Watts?
No. It's trying to think who's in it. I don't think there's
I
anybody.
probably did see it. Yeah, I did see it.
It's the twist
Yeah,
ending is definitely like
I
one
saw
of
it.
my favorites.
I saw it 4 years ago for my Halloween challenge.
Without spoiling the ending, do you remember the ending?
I don't. I don't remember anything about the movie.
Oh, it's funny because I didn't see the full movie, but I remember the ending because it's so.
I remember it just being like very okay, so it didn't really stick out to me.
But an ending can
Actually, in my review, I did not like the ending.
really.
Yeah.
But that's also the difference between you and me. Like I love like those nihilistic like type endings, like that make you feel like oh, like you just need to take a shower. I don't know. It's something I enjoy. Like even like when watching Road to Perdition, like it gave me hope, but it was also like, oh, like just with what you watch. And even today, I watched Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, and like that ending, it's the same type of feeling where it's like, oh like, but still liked it. Bootzilla says, "Hey fellas, Bootzilla's in the chat. Happy to hear. Ace Plus Mr. Robot is top one for me. Yes." Just grab Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul top 10 as well. Yeah, I am watching Breaking Bad right now with Nicolette. We're season 2, episode 12, and yeah, it's incredible. It's truly an outstanding show. We're thinking about watching Better Call Saul after because she hasn't seen it. I've seen Better Call Saul though.
It gets better with each season.
Better Call Saul does, and I'm curious how a rewatch will be in terms of that show. I do wish that Better Call Saul was shot on film, though. To be honest with you, let's see, Ace Pullets, Breaking Bad, and Better Call Saul are also amazing. Yep. Godzilla just saw Speak No Evil, very predictable and safe. It was decent. McAvoy saved this movie from being complete crap for me. Film Kid says, "Well, I gotta go, but have a good live." Thanks, man. It's good hearing from you. Can't articulate what is up with. Can't articulate. Good to hear from you, man. Let's see. Bootzilla also saw your review of Rebel Ridge. Thanks for the like, and glad you liked it just as much as I did. Of course, man. I try to support other, reviewers on Letterboxd. Sergey, is Rebel Ridge on your radar?
I wasn't really aware of it. I saw people reviewing it, but I thought it was just like another Netflix movie.
So it's the same director that did. Have you ever seen Blue Ruin or Green Room?
Green Room, I have. Yeah.
What about Hold the Dark with Jeffrey Wright?
Okay.
So it's that same kind of style where it's like that slow burn, like that tension, just like building. Except this time it's focusing on police corruption, which that's like my bread and butter in regards to like films. So like I didn't know it was about that though going into it. So like when the first frame happened, I was like, oh, okay. Like it just immediately caught me, and I was just like, okay, I'm on board with this. Let's see how this is gonna go.
You think it's something I would like?
Depends on your mood, to be honest. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's mind blowing or like thought provoking, but like as a genre film, it's good. Like if you want a nice combination of like popcorn entertainment, like action with that slow burn tension, then this is the film for you. But if you want like a film that's like really diving into like the themes and messages like in a super complex way, it's definitely not that. But it does it in enough where it's serviceable, and I was able to accept it.
Yeah.
But I liked it.
So it's like the new Speak No Evil, pretty much.
Well,
well, at least I can say that it's very serviceable, but it's not doing anything mind blowing.
I think that with this movie, Rebel Rage, I think the biggest thing was just that I wasn't expecting it to pull me in like right away, but it did because of like the directing and because of the lead performance. I don't know if I've seen him in anything else, but I think he's playing Mufasa in the new Lion King. So he's definitely going to be probably a household name by December. But like this film, he's quite good in. I can't articulate. I've got to say, Chad, Twin Peaks Return is actually good so far. I'm glad that you're watching that right now. I'm curious what episode you're on. I am actually going to be watching The Return, like starting it tomorrow, because this morning I finished Twin Peaks season 2, and then I watched Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. And it's funny because in the past I always said that like Twin Peaks The Return is like so different compared to season 1 and 2 of Twin Peaks, but rewatching it, like you can definitely see where The Return like took certain elements of the original series and took that and then just expanded on it like a lot. And that's why some fans might not necessarily like Twin Peaks The Return, because it kind of cuts back on all the soap opera stuff and focuses on like the surrealism and like the art house aspect, which is why I'm really excited to watch The Return. But glad you're enjoying it. Just a rare, Stand By Me is a classic. And Rebel Rage, I just watched. Very decent watch. I enjoyed. Yeah, I'm glad to see. Honestly, what I'm really happy about is that I don't usually look at it, but I'm very glad to see Rebel Rage is in like Netflix's top 10, which means that people are coming across like this, lower budget film. So I do wish that it hit theaters though, because like that would have been a really cool theater experience, especially like the sound mix. Ace Blitz, you see the new Dexter teaser? I did not, but ironically, my coworkers were talking about the show, and so we started talking about the original show. But I have not. I probably won't see it just so I can go into a blind. I think it comes out December, if I'm not mistaken. But you already know I'll be watching Dexter with my dog. Just a rare Netflix movies have been good lately. Rebel Ridge, and I told you The Deliverance as well. The Deliverance I'm very curious about because I do like the director, and I've seen like images from it, and I'm like,
is that the anything tied to the original Deliverance? Okay.
No, this one, from what I understand, I think it's a possession movie.
Okay.
From what I understand. And then Can't Articulate, I'm on episode 3. I'm going to try to get an episode or 2 a day in. That's fair. Yeah, my goal is I'm going to try to get to episode 8 of Twin Peaks The Return by next Friday, because episode 8 of Twin Peaks The Return is one of my favorite episodes of TV just in general. It is like it's unlike anything you've ever seen, and it's almost like the love child of like Eraserhead mixed with like Inland Empire. Like it's crazy the fact that it was on TV. Like just the balls of David Lynch. But I thought it was just good the first time I saw it, because I was just like, what? Like I was just like so baffled by it, especially because watching it week to week, when that episode dropped, there was going to be like a 2-week period where there wasn't going to be any episodes. So I was like, wow, they just dropped this episode, and then now for 2 weeks we're going to be like, what's going on. So it's crazy. It's basically an 18-hour movie, like Twin Peaks: The Return, and it's really good. It's really good. One of the best seasons of TV I've seen. He splits chat. Let me know if Dexter is good. I'm still mixed if I'm going to check it out or not. I'll definitely let you know. Like, I'm curious how a prequel show is going to go. Christian Slater, who plays Mr. Robot in Mr. Robot, is one of the main reasons why I'm like, all right, I'll check this out. As well as just because I'm curious where they're gonna go with, like, a prequel show, because it's like we already know what the outcome's going to be. So it's like if there's any sense of danger, we know he's not going to die. So, but Sergey, what are you watching right now in terms of TV?
You know, I'm terrible at keeping up with TV shows. I still have that. What is it? The heck am I watching? Like I don't have time to catch up to TV shows. It's like it's kind of overwhelming and to commit to something, especially if you don't know if it's getting canceled or what. But I'm currently watching Dark Winds on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
I think it's an AMC show originally.
Yeah,
it's not bad. I'm still waiting for it to kind of hook me in, but it's not bad. Mr. Robot, as you know, it's just started watching, so I'll be continuing that. And of course, I'm dreadfully watching Rings of Power. Luckily, I watched it with a friend, so that gave me incentive to continue it because I was like 3 episodes behind. And there's 3 more episodes left, and I think after these 3 episodes, that's it. I'm done.
Is it better than season 1 or like around the same?
No.
Oh, really?
Maybe a little bit. Either way, I was still just I'm not getting hooked. I don't care about any of these characters. The CGI is not great either. A lot of talking, and the writing is just terrible.
Yikes!
Just give me the action then. Like, I don't know.
Well, that's a shame.
I mean, I will see the animated. What is it? Rings of Roham.
Oh yeah, that's coming out around
That
Christmas
doesn't
time.
look that great either, but I'll give it a chance.
So right now I'm watching Banshee. I'm on season 2. I still got to watch the premiere. Sons of Anarchy. I'm season 6, episode 2. Still on Veep season 6, episode 1. Love that. My favorite comedy show. And then of course Breaking Bad season 2, episode 12. And then Yellowstone is coming.
Boy.
It's coming back in November, and I'm like, I haven't heard anything about like if Kevin Costner's in it, so I'm kind of like, how are they gonna kill him off? Like, because he is the main character of the show, but like from what I understand, he had a falling out. So it's like, how are they gonna end the show?
Have you watched these spinoffs?
No.
Okay.
No. But I'm aware of them because there are literally episodes. There's literal episodes of Yellowstone, I kid you not, where they halt everything and anything that has to do with the show and just focus on, hey, here's this. Like, there's one episode that's focusing on like Ranch 666, and it's like, oh, I wonder what this is. And then you learn later on that it's going to be a spinoff show that focuses on that. It's like, oh, I didn't know that. Tell me more. Or like a random episode where it starts with like the Duttons, like, generations and generations before, and it has nothing to do with anything, and it's like, oh, I wonder what this is for. Prequel show maybe. And then it's like you hear the news and it's like, there it is.
Well, I mean, I started watching late, and the only reason I started was because of the spinoffs, because they seemed like, oh, it's going to be like a Western or something,
Yeah, I mean, dude, like that's the biggest thing. Like we literally did a video together, top 10 Westerns. Like, so I love the Western genre, but like Yellowstone is just it's so frustrating. Like, and not in like oh my goodness, these characters are so complex. Like, I love it. It's more of just like, can there be anything that's like good about the show? Like anything, like, because even the filmmaking, it's just like, And it has what I've come to realize is my least favorite trope in all of TV, and that's like having like this country music playing during emotional scenes. I hate that. It happens in Sons of Anarchy. It happens in Yellowstone, and I just can't stand it. I'm not hating on the country song. I'm just saying that if there's an emotional death, like at my funeral, if someone starts playing country music, I might come back from my grave and say, you know what, screw y'all.
So you want All Quiet on the Western Front score to be played,
Oh
right?
God.
As we're lowering the casket.
I'm curious about that director's next film if he's having the same composer, and I'm wondering if like because this next movie is all about like Catholic priests. I'm wondering if every time a Catholic priest is like walking, it's like
Wait.
brah, brah, brah.
Well, that composer did have a movie that just came out.
Oh
I forget
really?
what it
What did he
was.
compose?
Let me see. I,
Also, Ace Blood says, because I love the first 4 seasons of the original, I liked New Blood until the ending, so I'm hoping the next 2 shows are good. I'm right there with you. Also, Ace Blood has a question for you, Sergey. Sergey, you finished Dark yet?
yeah, I did. I enjoyed the show overall. I think towards like the later stages of the season, I'm like they're doing a little too much, and I kind of was like I'm kind of already starting to get over the show. But overall, I still enjoyed it. I just think they kind of I don't want to say they ran out of ideas, but they stretched the overall idea a little thin. But I still liked it a lot.
For frame of reference, Ace, I loved the ending of Dark. I don't think that it's I don't want to say predictable because the show's anything but predictable, but like when the ending happens, it's kind of like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like I see why that happens.
I mean, the whole time I was watching the show, I was like, why don't they just go somewhere else? No one's telling them they have to stay in this one little town.
It makes sense though, because I feel like a lot of people, especially in like small towns, a lot of people usually stay within like their own folks, so it makes sense. There's a reason why you see in movies like that whole like small town mentality where it's like you coming in these parts, how dare you? Like there's a reason why you see that. It is funny though, like going into a small town, like it's yeah. Also, Joseph Guerrero says he's right there with you, Sergey. In regards to Rings of Power, LOL. He is hoping that it improves. Oh, wait, would have. And he Split says Yellowstone doesn't look that good. Don't think I'll ever check it out, especially the way you've talked about it, Chad. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. I'm going to be doing a review for the overall show once it ends, but I just like I understand why people love it. I do because it is catering towards like those audience members that look at things in like a black and white lens. But like as someone that doesn't look at things that way, like it's just very frustrating because it's like I'll see nuance to like certain characters, such as Wes Bentley's character, and it's like there's so many people that hate that character, but I'm like, you are constantly telling this guy like misinformation, so it's like of course like it's frustrating. Like without spoiling the show, like early on, his dad, Jamie's dad, wants him to be a senator. It's like okay, cool. Like there's a fine line. He wants to become a senator, and then his dad's like, no, I don't want you to. And he's like, but wait, Dad, I want to make a name for myself. No, you can't do that. You got to do it for the family. It's like, well, wait a minute, I thought you wanted me to make a name for myself. No, for the family. And then he takes them away, and then when he actually tries to do something else that is for the family, it's then like, no, you got to do something for yourself. And it's like, what do you want from me? Like, I'm just like, geez, like, what is happening here? But then you always hear people say, like, oh, he should have just listened. It's like, he's 40 years old. Like, don't you think he should be his own person by now?
Well, I mean, I started watching the show 2 years ago. I was actually in Georgia, and the only reason I'm like, all right, I'll finally sit down and watch this is I had like a student keep talking about it nonstop, like how it's the greatest show ever. So I'm like, and I kept looking back. I'm like, so when does it get good? But I only saw the first season, and I think like one episode into season 2, and I haven't continued since. So, and there's just so many other shows I need to watch.
It's the same shtick. It's Jamie does something that is for himself. The family doesn't like it, and that he should do it for the family. And he's like, all right. And then he does that, and then they complain about that, and then they want to kill him, so they beat him up, and then he then wants to retaliate. It's the same thing, rinse and repeat. What's his face is like the golden boy. I I forget his name, but
I
like
forget the girl's name, the sister. And I can't stand her character.
I
I know
like
a lot of people love her.
I like the actress, but I think
Yeah.
that they don't really know how to handle um, people that have been through trauma. I think that the way they handle trauma, the way they handle PTSD is just it's kind of I don't want to say offensive, but it's just like very much so mishandled in my opinion. And it's a shame because the actress is very talented. It's the same thing with Sons of Anarchy. There's a character in it that also has trauma, also has PTSD, and for an entire season, it's like in the background, but they don't really focus on it, and it's very odd. And the reason why I always talk about Sons of Anarchy with Yellowstone is because Taylor Sheridan had a huge part in the early seasons of Sons of Anarchy, and I think that he took a lot of what he learned with Sons of Anarchy and implemented it with Yellowstone, and that's why both shows have like a lot of crossover things in regards to filmmaking and even the characters. So, yeah, that's my rant on Yellowstone, though. Stay tuned for my 5-hour review of Yellowstone when it ends.
So
Um,
the composer for the newest movie that composer did for um, what was it? Well, All Quiet on the Western Front.
oh yeah. What was it?
Yeah, so that The Crow, the latest Crow,
Oh, how is the score for The Crow?
forgettable.
Oh,
They do like mix in the original score, which I did really like the original,
yeah,
the
the
score
original
at
score is
least.
nice.
But otherwise, I don't remember anything about the score, and soon I'm gonna forget the movie.
Yeah, I still need to watch the remake, but at this point, I don't know if I'm going to see it in theaters.
You don't really need to watch it.
I know that's the thing. Like we're heading into award season, so it's like
It's like top 5 worst movies for me this year. Granted, I haven't seen that many bad movies like you have, but
yeah, you didn't see God's Not Dead 5.
you went in knowing that was gonna be bad.
I went into it with an open mind though. Like the first 20 minutes, I was like, "Oh, this isn't bad." Like,
You're going in with an open mind. That's not even the directors weren't even open minded when they made the movie.
no, but like the first 20 minutes, like they were using like color gels. They
Okay.
also had like camera movement, and they didn't have like overblown lighting. Like normally it's like they treat every shot as if like it's supposed to be like God that's on display. Like there's just like lighting, like
Okay.
it's like whoa. But no, the first 20 minutes it was actually like, oh, like the dialogue wasn't like atrocious. It was like, okay, let's see where we're going with this. And then the rest of the movie happened, and like they introduced the bad guy, who ironically is in Twin Peaks. It's Ray Wise. So like when I was watching it, like the performance of like the bad guy in this, I was like, dear God, like this guy is so talented. Like what, like how is he directed with this? Because he's literally directed to say that like a xenophobia is bad, but like it's made in a way to seem like a xenophobia is like supposed to be a good thing. And I was just like, what? Like, okay. Like that was when I was like, okay, I know the film I'm in. Never mind. But the audience I saw it with liked it. So here's that. But yeah. Godzilla. Oh wait, actually, I just realized I didn't even answer Eastblitz's. Still need to check out Dark. I like the look of the atmosphere, music, and cinematography. Yeah, as far as Netflix shows, it's definitely one of my favorite. Hoping it gets a physical media release at some point. To be honest.
You can get the import, Chad.
Oh gosh, I feel like getting the import would be a lot like watching the show, where it's like trying to figure it out if it's something that can work in my 4K player.
Yeah.
So I don't have region free, unfortunately. Godzilla absolutely loved Dark. Such an awesome show. Yeah, it's really good. Like I'm glad that a lot of people have seen to watch it. 1899 is also good,
Okay, I'll check that one out.
and it works as it was just a one-off, but it works. A-splits. I hate when shows do the black and white stuff. Yeah, I like shows 30 plus years ago. Like that was like the norm because TV was looked at as like the dummy box. I'm not giving that term. I'm saying that like that's legit what it was called, but it actually got like legitimized with Twin Peaks and then Oz, and then of course The Sopranos. Like is what really paved the way for what we now look at as TV shows, like where it's like you have all these actors and big name directors take on projects. So But yeah, Twin Peaks started that. Ace Splits, I feel like Game of Thrones was really great at not doing that until season 8, and the plot armor was crazy. Also, the fast traveling. Yeah, the plot armor was something that with Game of Thrones season 8, it was kind of baffling because like it's a show that was embraced for being very creative at just killing off characters left and right that you don't see coming. But season 8 definitely had it where it was like, okay, maybe that character should have died. Like, but at the same time, like I do like overall the character arcs, but I do think that could have done without some of the plot armor for sure. Bootzilla, haven't seen Yellowstone, but it seems very normie to me. I usually don't like normie stuff. Yeah, if you don't like normie stuff, definitely not the show for you. I don't know. There's just nothing that really sticks out about it. Like, I love westerns, I do, and like I'm glad that it's popular because maybe we'll get more western related stuff. But like, just I like Breaking Bad. That works as like a neo western. Like watching it this time, I was like, oh yeah, this legit is a neo western. Like just all these like sunset shots. Also, Sergey, I don't know if you noticed this, but you and I we both rewatched. Well, I rewatched. You saw for the first time, but did you notice that Paris, Texas, like the score for that, the main theme in particular? I feel like the composer of Breaking Bad like was inspired by that because it like the Breaking Bad's like main theme sounds similar to that, and I mean it as like a praise.
I didn't make the connection, but now that you say it, yeah.
Again, not a bad thing. Like I love Paris, Texas, and I love Breaking Bad, but like rewatching Breaking Bad, I was like, oh, and I think it was definitely intentional though because like Texas, close to Mexico. Let's see. Just to Chad, have you ever watched any of Black Mirror episodes, Dark and Twisted series? So I have. I think I only saw the first 3 seasons. I didn't see the season with Miley Cyrus. I remember I wanted to, but I never got around to it. But that show I remember liking in the moment, but it just, I haven't really come back to it. But I mean, it's definitely got some memorable stuff. Like in particular, the season 1 premiere involving a pig, definitely memorable. Sergey, have you seen Black Mirror?
Yeah, I've seen a few episodes here and there. I think any show that has this episodic structure, I can't really get invested in because it's like it resets every episode.
Yeah, it's almost like each episode is like a mini movie, if you will.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like the modern Twilight Zone, I guess.
Almost, yeah. More twisted though. Joseph Guerrero, Breaking Bad is not a Western. Hello. I definitely would make the argument that I would make the argument that Breaking Bad and No Country for Old Men, I think are like neo westerns. It's not like a traditional western where it's like, hey, you like let's have a showdown in the streets. But like if you think about it, you have a main character that has a lot of just lone warrior type stuff that at the same time also has, some like showdowns. Again, not trying to do any Breaking Bad spoilers. There's a lot of shots that emphasize the environment that happens to really look like it feels like an old Western in regards to the way it's shot. I can send you links though that are kind of confirming that, but again, because some of it involves spoilers, but it's a neo Western. It's definitely a neo Western. But I will say, with your description, a drama thriller, 100%. I think it's a multifacet of genres. Like I would also say that at times it's action. Here's a good example of it being a neo Western. There's a train robbery. What other genre do you see train robberies? Like Breaking Bad has a train robbery. A brilliant one, by the way. Let's see. Splitch chat. How do you feel about Ozymandias? I rewatched it earlier. Still masterful. I think that it's an incredible episode. It's one of the best. What do you think about that episode, Sergey? For Breaking Bad,
you have to refresh my memory because I don't remember.
It's the one where a certain character in the final season gets, and basically a certain character has to end up going in hiding. It's basically that the whole show builds to this episode. It's directed by Ryan Johnson.
Okay. It's been a
It's great.
while. It's been a
If
while.
you look it up on IMDb, I think
I'm sure.
it's the only episode in TV that has a 10 out of 10 on IMDb.
Okay. It's been probably like 8 years.
Jeez, you haven't seen.
It might have been actually when 8 years probably.
Oh, sorry, you gotta rewatch it.
I do. I have seen the show twice now, but I remember. I mean, I've enjoyed every single episode. So,
Oh yeah.
This is my number one show. Like I haven't watched it in a while, but it is my number one show. I don't have any issues with any of the episodes. So even the Fly episode, I still think worked really well for the contained location they were in. So, yeah, I think.
And it also, to be honest with you, like it's nice that they had that episode because they wanted to reach 62 episodes. I forget the exact reason as to why they wanted to hit 62 exactly. It's something scientific, but yeah, Breaking Bad's pretty much perfect. Like it's great. And even on rewatch, like there's just so many details that I pick up on. And it's also kind of nice too that having seen Better Call Saul, there's certain references that now that I've seen Better Call Saul, I'm like, oh wow, like that's referencing this character in that show. Ace Paulette's not into the episodic style. Yeah, I grew up in the episodic style, like with the Andy Griffith Show, I Love Lucy, like shows like that. So it's like one of those things that.
But those are comedies. Those are comedies.
Yes, and comedies usually follow that. Although Veep, that's why I love Veep so much, is that it's not episodic. Like it's build up. Like each season builds up to something, and then that finale then leads to the start of like the next season.
I've been meaning to watch it because it does star the actress from Seinfeld, which another episodic show that I really liked growing up.
I think that if you were to start it this year, Sergey, it's also kind of fitting because she's vice president, and it's like it's just kind of funny how TV and reality are kind of like matching now because like I'm like literally when Biden dropped out and Harris like took over, like that's legit a plot point from Veep, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like.
So you're saying it was planned? It was a conspiracy this whole time?
No, I'm not gonna push any conspiracy theories, but I just thought it was funny because I was like, literally after the first debate between like Biden and Trump, I was like, wouldn't it be kind of funny if like Harris like took over? Like I'm like, it's kind of like Veep. And I was like, yeah, it probably won't happen. And then it happened. I was like, oh, cool, like interesting. Like, all right, here we go.
Are there any Trump-like characters?
Yes. No, I and it's funny because I kid you not, like I don't want to say who it is, but there's a certain character that for me, I actually have a Funko Pop of this character because I think he is utterly hilarious. But like you think of him as like a joke and like a punchline throughout this show, and then he actually is taken seriously, and you're like, oh, I see what they were doing here, and you're like, oh no, and it's perfect. It's great, and that show also builds like the final season. I think is like pretty much near perfect.
Well, now I got to start watching that.
And you'll be able to fly through it too. Like the episodes are like 20-30 minutes. Like it's not long.
I still have to watch Marv's requested show. Heck was it? Not the Daily Show. The morning show.
The morning show. Yeah.
I do like Jeff Daniels, so
I like him too. And he was also in the Newsroom, which was I liked that to an extent. But Marv still hasn't seen Breaking Bad, which is insane to me. Yeah. He's missing out. Just grab maybe desert scenes for Breaking Bad, or westerns. Yeah, I'll send you a link afterwards because like I think Breaking Bad being a neo western, like I legit believe it.
I mean, Star Wars is considered to be a western.
I don't deny it. Like I also think that Star Wars, like if someone were to say like it's a samurai film, I wouldn't disagree with them because it has a lot of it has a lot of similarities with that genre. It just seems like it's updated, which is
Chad,
cool.
you're like samurai films are better.
Well, Star Wars, I really want to love that series. I really do. I don't know. I do wonder
You
if I
own The Last Jedi, but no
yeah.
other Star Wars movie. That's the one
Honestly,
I don't own.
I
I own
know.
everything else.
The Last Jedi really grew on me, man. Like that movie, I was so angry afterwards the first time I saw it. Like I was
I'm
just like,
still angry.
no, I like it. I think that I think in terms of like the whole samurai, like Star Wars being a samurai movie, like I think for that movie in particular, I think it works the best because it like in particular like the last act with like Luke Skywalker, like I think his whole journey in that film I like personally, but I know that it's a hot take. And I do wonder if like 20 years from now if it's going to be like still hated or if it's going to be like a kind of a turnaround where
Are
it's like
they continuing? Like I know last I saw Daisy Ridley was like agreeing to be in another Star Wars movie.
I wouldn't be surprised to be honest, but I think the days of an auteur filmmaker like Ryan Johnson directing a Star Wars film is kind of over. So
Yeah.
expect like a F minus director to
We need a
direct.
break. You know, Star Wars used to be kind of this event every 10 years we would get something new. And now it's just like constantly down our throats, multiple stuff every year. It's not special anymore. And the
I
writing
agree.
isn't good. The characters I don't care for. They just need to start fresh, maybe take a break and then do something nothing attached to any Skywalkers. Maybe go to focus on the old Republic or something. But I just can't watch any of these new shows. Like I have no interest.
Honestly, I know you didn't like Andor, but I think if they do something like Andor where it's like a one-off where it focuses on like something completely different that isn't really related to anything else, I think that it would benefit a lot because there's nothing that they have to really like tie into with other stuff. It will stand on its own, you know. But I don't know. I mean, I don't think that they're going to stop just because that franchise
Yeah.
makes so much money. But they have such a difficult time though with that series because like they're spending so much money on the TV shows, but it's like TV series go on streaming, and streaming the revenue isn't like a lot. It's not like when you release a Star Wars movie in theaters and you're making like $1 billion, you know.
Which is what I'm thinking about Rings of Power. Like, how do you go on from that? Viewership is way down. They're not promoting it as heavy anymore. Like, as someone who works at Amazon, I just see there's no more packaging that say Rings of Power anymore.
Yep.
That's it. So, does that show get canceled, or does they spend so much money just getting rights to it, let alone filming all of that?
Yeah, it's odd. It's odd, like a flagship show like that, because I feel like something like The Boys, which is Amazon, that gets like heavily promoted, but Rings of Power doesn't really seem to, even though Rings of Power is like a lot more expensive. So I think personally, not a studio exec, but I think that studios just need to get a financial advisor. That's all I'm going to say because just the idea of having a two
Put
hundred
your
million
number
dollars.
down, Chad. Put your number down, your credentials.
Oh, you know me, I'm a cheapskate. I could definitely bring it down. Like I've told Marv this before. Like he was like, Chad, if you had $200 million, what movie would you make? And I legit told him I was like, I wouldn't make one movie with $200 million. I would make like
Oh, I thought you were gonna make Midnight Sermon for 200 million.
no. Look, I like to consider myself to be financially sound. Now, if I had $200 million again in another world, I would make like 6, 7 mid-budget films, and I would have one film be like $75 million. So that way, that $75 million movie, if it makes back double that, it makes 150 million. The other movies, there's not really that pressure that those movies have to make a lot. They just have to like break even. So it's like if you give 5, 6 movie directors like carte blanche just to do whatever.
Yeah, but who's gonna go see this movie? They need big names attached.
Well, you get someone that's like in the middle range. So like someone that might not necessarily be doing a lot of work. So like for example, imagine like Sylvester Stallone doesn't really seem to be getting a lot of work these days. So imagine Sylvester Stallone in like an art house film, like an art house horror film. Like You never. I
I've
don't think
seen,
any of us have seen a horror film that really has Sylvester Stallone. So like, imagine that. Like,
we have seen Arnold Schwarzenegger.
this is true. I think it was Maggie.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I think that would be the way to do it. Like smaller budget, mid budget films, and then have one film that isn't $200 million.
Yeah.
Just make it like 75, make it 100. Because if you're putting all your chips, it's like going to the casino. You don't put all your chips on red. You put
Oh,
your
you don't?
chip.
That's right. You lose your keys there. That's right.
Yeah, you don't put all your chips on red. If you put a little bit here, a little bit there, and then if you're lucky, one of those movies breaks out. So I just want to shake studio execs sometimes. I'm just like, guys, like just come on now. And then they complain where it's like, oh, this movie didn't do super well. It's like, yeah, because you spent too much money.
Yeah.
You're over budget. Anyway,
Sylvester Stallone, by the way, he is in a TV show though.
This is
Tulsa
true.
King or Tulsa. I did see the first season. I did enjoy it. There is a second season either out or it's coming out. I'll probably watch it.
I did hear that was enjoyable. Also, Aceplet says The Fly is extremely underrated, especially with what it does with Walter's character. Yeah, I think I've only seen that episode once or twice, but I've seen the show I think 4 or 5 times.
You skip episodes? What?
Only that episode.
Why?
To be honest with you, well, when was it? The last time I watched it, it was with Nicolette, and she doesn't like the episode, and like I don't have my heart set on that episode, so I'm just like, yeah, I'm fine with skipping it. But I don't know. I mean, I skipped some episodes of Twin Peaks. Like I watched season 2 of Twin Peaks. I only did episode 1 to 9, and then episode 21 and 22. So like I skipped 13 episodes, which was actually kind of funny because like when I watched episode 21, like there were plot points that got wrapped up from episode 9, and I was like, wow, like I guess what I said was kind of confirmed, where it's like you could skip some episodes and it's like you didn't really miss that much.
Right. I mean, so I'm watching obviously One Piece, and that has 1,000 some plus episodes. And there's guides obviously to how to watch it, what filler episodes to skip. And originally I was gonna do that, but you know, I'm like, I'm committed. I need to watch it. Just, I don't know. It's just kind of this expectation for myself that I've said, like, I need to watch it if I'm going to watch it
in 10 years.
Yeah. In 10 years? Yeah, probably 5 years.
Yeah, that's a lot of episodes. I mean, props to them for having a show that lasts that long. The View with Drew is in the house. Hey, everyone, what's up? Good to hear from you, man. Hope you're doing well. Ace Paulette's gotta love Marv's recommendations. Breaking Bad is a must watch. Yeah, I love Marv, but him not seeing Breaking Bad, he's missing out.
They have Prison Break is now on Netflix. I remember really liking that show.
I heard the first season was good, but then I heard it kind of dropped off. Is that true?
The first 2 seasons are really good, and then it falls off. But then, you know, I watched this show before I watched anything like Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones. So at the time, for me, it was like peak television. So I'm a little worried going back to see it, but I've seen it like 3 times at this point.
You already know that from me, like I've heard so many people talk about that show, but I see how many episodes per season, and I'm like, pass.
Just watch the first season.
Isn't the first season like 30 episodes?
It's okay. Isn't Breaking Bad like 76 episodes?
But it's broken up into like 13 episodes per season. I'm okay with 13 episodes. It's just when you get into like 20 plus episodes, like Twin Peaks, the second season was 22 episodes. And as I just said, like that is a season that easily could have been condensed into 11 episodes. And it would have been A-okay.
You could start to get a flavor, and if it's not for you, you could just bail.
It's true. But sometimes that's the thing with me. Sometimes when I'm starting a show, I have that like insistence to like continue. It depends though. There's certain shows where I might bail, but then other shows I'm like, nope, I'm committed. Like Walking Dead, I bailed like season 3, but something like Sons of Anarchy, I'm like, I'm committed, man. Like I'm on season 6, I may as well finish it.
Just watching, Speak No Evil, and seeing those 3 co-stars that were in Halt and Catch Fire, I'd recommend that show too. I think there's like 4 seasons of that. Um,
Oh, I just speaking of shows, I just realized. Are you gonna be watching the Penguin?
yeah, I will be. When does that come out though?
So the first episode is it's first episode. It's weird. It's dropping Thursday at 9 o'clock p.m. And then the next episode is the following Sunday, and that's going to be every Sunday until it ends. But I don't know. I might wait until Sunday because Thursday my plans are like up in the air, so I don't know if I'll watch it. But I might just wait until Sunday. But heard
I'll
it's
probably
good.
watch it though.
Apparently it's like The Sopranos. So I mean, if you like the
Uh,
Penguin, if you like the Penguin, you might watch The Sopranos.
nah, I'm not watching The Sopranos.
It's the greatest show of all time. I'm kidding.
Nah, there's just some shows that people keep like, or at least back in the day, people kept talking about that I know I'm not gonna watch. I think The West Wing is very similar. Like, heard a lot of great things, never gonna get around to it.
I want to watch that show, but I look at how many episodes per season, and I'm like,
Nope.
nope. I'm like, I love Aaron Sorkin, but nope. One of my favorite writers, but nope. Joseph Guerrero, Marv, LOL. Is Marv the one that thinks Madam Web is best movie? LOL. That's Marv. He gave it a 5 out of 5 because Dakota Johnson showed up in the movie.
I still have to watch that.
Watch that with your friend that's into action movies. I would recommend watching that
Surprisingly,
movie.
he's really into Rings of Power. Like,
Really?
yeah,
He'll be really into Madam Web, though.
probably.
Dude, Madam Web, like, I forget if I told you this or not, but like, there's a scene that it's so focused on like Peter Parker's name, like with what his name is going to be, but then they don't actually reveal his name because they actually can't say his name because of like copyright. So it's like, why have this scene that's so focused on like?
Is that Sony?
So it is Sony, but I think that if I'm not mistaken, I think that Disney has the rights to Spider-Man, I believe, or it's something like that. Like they weren't allowed to actually say his name. But they always allude to him where it's like, oh, it's gonna be your nephew, or like they'll say stuff like that where it's like, oh, I wonder what his name will be, like stuff like that. But they never actually say like Peter Parker.
Are you going to be seeing the new Venom movie?
Maybe.
They just showed a trailer. That's just made me remember.
I'm so over like this. I don't know. Like I hated the second one.
Yeah.
Like that was like CGI porn. Like I was just like, dear God. Like it was just like
This one looks like it'll be better than the second one, at least.
I hope so because the second one, like I had a headache. I felt like I felt like just I felt depressed after watching that second one. I was just like this is what superhero cinema has gone down to. Got it. Great. Like the first one was enjoyable in like a guilty kind of pleasure way, but like the second one just it had nothing going for it. I think I gave it a 1 out of 5. I might have. Like I really did not like that one.
Well, I wonder what I gave it.
2.25 out of 5.
Really?
That's
That high?
No, I'm kidding. I don't know what you got. You gave.
I gave it 2.
Oh, okay. It's fair. The View with Drew. What superhero movie you prefer? Serious and sad, or funny and full of comedy? For me, serious and sad. Watchmen, the 2009 film, and then the 2019 TV show. Love them. Dark Knight trilogy. The Batman 2022. I love those like dark and gritty superhero films. What about you, sir?
I think serious and sad is something I'd go over. But if it's something that can balance everything, that works for me really well too.
Some MCU movies do a good job with that. Like I feel like a lot of people look at the Guardians of the Galaxy movies as like an example of being able to balance the two. Let's see, Joseph Guerrero. Yeah, there are so many lower budget series that kill Rings of Power. LOL. Yeah, again, like I feel like some shows are almost like money laundering, where it's like, you guys spending money on this show? Like you're paying everyone, right? I hope so. Like the CEOs, they're not keeping the money, right? I guess I shouldn't say that in case someone watches and it's like, oh,
well, it's funny because with Rings of Power, they'll be like, it has that same issue with the Game of Thrones with people traveling fast, and then they'll be dropping Easter eggs to things that we know about in the movie. And it's like,
remember the Lord of the Rings movies? And it's
like, yeah. Like they're already hinting at something that happened in Fellowship of the Ring, and I'm like, I'm waiting for it.
Ace Splits, looking forward to getting around to Hannibal. I was holding off a little bit because of what I was hearing about season 3. Also, how do you feel about the show being canceled? So Hannibal, I'm very much so looking forward to hearing your thoughts on it when you start it. Season 3 goes full hardcore art house experimentation on TV. I love it. I think it's great, but I also understand that it's not for everyone. It's something to behold. That and Twin Peaks: The Return are like the two examples of TV where I'm like, oh wow, they actually are able to experiment on TV. But I love Hannibal. I think it's incredible. It being canceled, I'm actually kind of glad. I think that it being only 3 seasons was pretty cool, and I think the way it ends, like it seems like a done deal. Like there's no other way for them to continue it. So like I don't know. I know that they've tried to do a season 4, but like I'm not like, oh, I hope that there's a season 4. I'm more like, just let it be. Like it works as just 3 seasons, 39 episodes. Like just leave it be.
Let that be a lesson to all those TV shows that want to get all artistic.
That's the thing, man. Like that's like when the show came out, that's what some people were saying. We're like, oh, it was too out there and it's too experimental. But it's like the fact that it exists, like it's a miracle, man. Like it really is. Like just the imagery alone, like it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah, I gotta add that to the list.
I think that I feel like for you, Sergey, I feel like if you were to stop at the season 2 finale, I think you would be satisfied. I don't know if you would like season 3. I really don't, because like season 3 is like a very very niche audience, and the season 2 finale does feel like a series finale in many ways, like many ways. It's sad. It's so good though. It's so good.
Did you see the Bates Motel? Was that any good?
So it's funny you mentioned that show. I saw season 1 when it first aired, and I remember thinking it was okay. Nicola and I, we were planning to rewatch the show, and I think we got a couple episodes in. She wasn't feeling it, which is fine. I get it. I think when it was airing, she got up to season 3, but neither one of us went back to it. Like I still have it kind of on the back burner to like actually try to watch the full thing, but maybe I'll do that soon. But I've heard that the later seasons of that show are really good, from what I understand.
Yeah, it's a show that I like. I don't know if I need, because I feel like I don't need more information on,
I don't think you would like it though, too, because it's him when he's younger. So there's like a lot of high school drama, like a lot of high school drama. So in some ways, it almost has that what's that show, like Riverdale kind of feel to it.
Yeah, that's probably not something for me. Plus, I mean, I'd rather not know everything about a character.
Yeah, honestly, sometimes ambiguity is the way to go. Like I think, especially with a character that's supposed to be ominous.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the movies after Psycho. I think there was like 5 of them.
Oh, you watched the sequels?
Yeah, the second one actually isn't that bad. Obviously, it's a tall order to compare to the original, but as a like, if you're just looking at it, is it good or not? It's actually not bad.
I remember thinking it was kind of middle of the road, but better than expected.
Yeah,
I do think that it's a shame that it was like colorized, because I do think that original, like being black and white, like it's so fitting. Like I can't imagine Psycho being in color. So the fact that the sequel is in color, I do think is kind of a disservice.
So the 2001, or I think it's 2001, the remake, that's in color as well.
Yep.
Yeah, that's another reason not to watch it.
I watched it out of curiosity, as well as I'm gonna at some point try to watch all Gus Van Sant's films. I wouldn't recommend watching the remake. No. I like Vince Vaughn a lot, but him as Norman Bates, yeah, no.
Yeah, there's certain classics that I refuse to watch the remakes of. I think Carrie is another one.
That was one where that was a missed opportunity. Like that could have potentially been interesting, but Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, remakes can be good, but the Carrie remake, the Psycho remake, the
Yeah,
Straw
we're
Dogs
still
remake.
waiting for that Memento remake, and what was the Scarface?
Memento actually, I don't know if I told you, Memento actually already had got
Oh,
remade.
really?
Yeah, it was I'm actually looking to not rewatch, I'm looking to watch it. It's a Indian cinema film.
Oh yeah, you told me about that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I am I am curious about it because dude, it's like almost 3 hours long. It's almost like twice the runtime of the original Memento. But
Maharaja 2.0.
yeah, apparently Nolan wasn't happy about it because like they didn't give him credit or anything, which is understandable because it's like, dude, like the poster is literally a guy in like tattoos, and I think it has the same like
Just
tagline, so it's very
I don't think
obvious
I'm
that
watching it. I'm not watching.
no, I couldn't imagine you watching. I mean, Memento's one of my all time favorites,
Yeah,
so I'm like curious like how that's going to translate into Indian cinema, but
be
an
musical
American
numbers and
remake of Memento
everything.
is unnecessary.
There'll be a musical number at some point. It will be a song about how he can't remember or something.
I'll definitely let you know if I could definitely see that happening. Where it's like as he's getting tattoos, like there's a musical number.
People chasing him. Hey, come back. Oh gosh.
Ace Bless Chad. Who is your favorite TV character? Mine is Elliot. Oh, that's a tough question. I don't know who my favorite is. I always go back and forth. Like Elliot is definitely up there. Dale Cooper of Twin Peaks. Um, Hannibal and Will Graham in the TV show Hannibal. Um, the Man in Black in Westworld, I think he's a very fascinating character. Like his whole arc, just in general, was something that I was just fascinated by. Trying to think of some other ones. Walter White, of course, one of the best. Don Draper in Mad Men is also up there. There's too many. Like I love so many, but I love the morally complex ones.
Yeah.
BoJack is also someone
Yeah,
where it's
I was about to say that BoJack Horseman.
and BoJack ironically was inspired by Mad Men.
Hmm.
Joseph Guerrero. I never got into anime, but I watched and enjoyed One Piece live action and loved it. Was that I forget? Was that the Netflix one?
Yeah.
Prison Break is solid, but it did fall off. I did hear that. Hey, Sluts, I heard there's a lot of fluff in Prison Break that could have been cut out. 20 plus episode seasons. Ace, I almost liked Darlene's character over Elliot. Darlene is a really, really good character. Like, she's so good. Sergey, do you like
Yeah.
Do you like Darlene?
Yeah, she's an interesting character.
That twist with her was like,
Oh yeah.
oh my goodness.
What are you doing?
Yeah, she was like, bro. Literally, she was like, bro. Darlene is great. I would have her as a top 4 characters, Mr. Robot. I'm with you there. I think White Rose, I think, is also one of my favorites. Ace Split's my top 5 Mr. Robot characters are 1, Elliot, 2, Mr. Robot, 3, Tyrell, 4, Darlene, 5, Angela. I do like Angela as well. Yeah, it's tough. White Rose, he's one of my favorite villains in general because I think that he's someone that's often misunderstood. I forget, Sergey, have you been introduced to White Rose yet?
When did I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I'm only on the first episode of season 2.
I'm trying to think. Was White Rose? I forget if White Rose was introduced yet, actually. Never mind. White Rose is good, though. I really like White Rose. I seen Venom 2 on my birthday when it came out. It was so bad. Such a shame because a great actor like Woody Harrelson was in it. He was fantastic, True Detective.
I forget Woody Harrelson was even in that movie.
Yeah, he played Carnage, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that movie honestly gave me like PTSD of like Suicide Squad 2016 in regards to like the filmmaking.
But people liked Suicide Squad.
Oh, you like the original one?
Well, I guess I'm thinking about the new one.
Oh no. The the 2016 one.
I actually enjoyed that one over the new one. I
Oh,
don't like
Sergey
either
with
one.
hot takes.
I
Sergey
don't
with
like
hot
either
takes.
one, but I think the world was just better developed and the characters were more interesting.
Comment below which Suicide Squad you guys like.
It's a better looking movie.
Are we gonna call it a remake? I guess we gotta call it a remake. The remake, I was kind of surprised that it was beloved. Like,
They even made a whole TV show about with was it Peacemaker?
oh yeah, with John Cena. Yeah, I didn't watch it. I heard it was alright.
I saw the first episode. It was okay.
And then you were like, peace.
Not for me.
Fair. Esports, I really like art house stuff, so I'll probably like Hannibal and Twin Peaks. Yes, especially Hannibal. If you love art house, Hannibal and Twin Peaks: The Return, especially, are like the two examples of like art house TV. Which I can't really say art house TV that often because I feel like we don't really see that. It's a rarity because it's like the whole thing with TV is that you want it to be where it's like week to week, or in terms of binging as well, you want to get audiences like hooked, and experimentation isn't really something that's going to get audiences like hooked.
A24 needs to start making more TV shows.
Right? Honestly,
they have Beef, which was pretty good.
I still need to watch that. I heard it was good. Let's see, Joseph Guerrero. I don't think Hannibal should have been made into a series. Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal movies were awesome, and series brought it down. Oh, I'm curious why you didn't like Hannibal as a TV show. I loved it. Like, I think it's really good. Like, I love watching that show, and then immediately after it ends, putting in Silence of the Lambs. Different takes of characters, like, for sure. But it's also part of the interest level for me. It's like getting to see a different interpretation of a character that I really find interesting. Jessica Guerrero Bates Motel is pretty decent. I like Vera Farmiga. I do too. I think she's good. The View with Drew. Lately, the complaints of superhero movies being sad is ridiculous, stupid, because while movies like The Dark Knight and Logan were serious, they told great stories which made us connect with characters. Yeah, and also, I don't really feel as though superhero movies have been sad lately, to be honest. I feel like, if anything, it's been kind of the opposite.
It's always been DC. Marvel's always been the happy, more friendly, consumable films that it's got to throw jokes every 5 seconds.
Just to remind people that, like, everything is going to be okay. Yeah, and I feel like DC's kind of taken a back seat in regards to, like, the movies that they've made. So, like, Marvel's kind of king right now. And I feel like Marvel, I don't think that they've really made serious movies. And it's like, even when they are getting close to it, they still don't fully push the button of, like, making you feel sorry.
But I think was Avengers Infinity War might have been the last one.
I would say Endgame too. Like, Endgame, I was actually kind of surprised. Like, I was actually kind of surprised that, like, early on they actually had moments where it was like Tony Stark was like actually contemplating his actions and everything. I was like, this is weird. Like, I'm digging it. Like, keep up this character stuff. Ace Blood says, I know Marv likes Bates Motel. Yeah, I meant to ask him about the later seasons of that show, but I do know you are right. Let's see, just Guerrero, I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10 for Bates series. Oh, that's low. I don't know if I would continue it then if it's that low. Ace Blitz, BoJack is one of the best. Absolutely agree. Very therapeutic, honestly.
you come in with the question, you walk out without it.
Dude, I felt so good watching BoJack Horseman. Like, afterwards, I was like, oh, like. Just Guerrero, Gus Fring, along with Walter White, top Breaking Bad characters. Gus Fring is so good. Like, we just got past the episode where they introduced him, and what a character introduction, man! Like, just he's so good. Ace Bloods, White Rose is great as well. You do meet him in season 1, episode 8. Oh, I think that was the episode where I think, if I'm not mistaken, that might have been the episode where he is introduced to White Rose, and White Rose says, like, I don't have that much time. Like, time is everything. Something like that. Let's see. Splits isn't Hannibal top 4 for you, Chad, and Twin Peaks was 5. I remember you saying that in your favorite TV show list. Yeah, I think I do have Hannibal as like my top 4. It has so much of an impact for me, like not only just from an entertainment perspective, but just like an artistic perspective. Like, because I think that it's a good example of a show that balances art house sensibilities with entertainment sensibilities, and it's also deceptive. Like, it's a show that the first couple episodes it feels very episodic. Like, oh, this week we're focusing on this villain, and then next week, oh, we're focusing on this villain, and it's like, oh, okay, this is what it is. But in the background, all the side characters are focusing on the previous things that happened in the first couple episodes of the series. And by the end of season 1, you realize, oh, wow, like those villains of the week were kind of like distracting the lead characters while eventually those things that happen in the first couple episodes catch up to the lead characters and have a ripple effect for the next couple seasons. It's brilliant, honestly. It's brilliant. Like, it took me a couple of viewings to like realize how deceptive it was, but it's really good. Really good. Strong directing. And whoever came up with the visual style like of that show, just props to them. Because it's unlike any show I've seen in regards to the style. A-Splits, I think Walter and Jesse are the 2 best characters in Breaking Bad. I love their dynamic. Like, they're like an old couple, especially like in the earlier seasons. They're too funny. Just I mean, maybe Black Panther 2 was sad because of the Chad Memorial. Black Panther 2, I will give credit. I do feel like it was one of the more serious entries in the MCU, especially early on. Yeah, with Chadwick Boseman's passing, like they definitely took their time with that, and I do like that. Just Guerrero, Gus over Jesse for sure, hands down. Jesse third. Yeah, I mean, I like all 3 of those characters. Honestly, coming up with like a top 5 favorite characters of Breaking Bad is tough because I like so many of them. Even the whole family dynamic, like Hank, Marie, Skyler, like I find them to be interesting as well. And I love the scenes where they're all together and you like hear all their different perspectives on like an issue that's happening. A-Splits, Jesse's dynamic with Walter is so great, and its complexity and depth is so good. Agreed. And Jesse, just his change throughout the show also is something that I'm fascinated by. Gus still great. I would have Mike over him as well. Mike is really good. Just with Guerrero, yeah, but Gus' character needs no support, like Jesse. Yeah, I do like the characters surrounding Jesse too, like his friends. Jesse is great alone as well. Gus, I think there's a lot of Better Call Saul characters better than Gus as well. He's still great. Mike is good too. I would also have Jimmy, Chuck, Kim, Nacha, and Howard over Gus. Oh,
it's interesting. Nobody ever mentions Hank.
I know. Even though Hank, I find to be really interesting because
he's always like joking around, but then his serious stuff, he can be really like intimidating and grabs your attention.
Well, that's what I like about him because he uses humor as like a way of like distracting from all like the stuff that he's going through like mentally. Like,
yeah,
we just got past the episode where he sees a certain bad guy's head on a tortoise, and we see how visually like it really has an impact on him. But then like the next day in work, he's like joking around with everyone to hide the fact that this was like a traumatic event. And I don't know, just something like that I think is interesting because we see all the time like how people handle things differently, and just seeing how Hank handles it, it's something that's very realistic because sometimes people don't want to actually hit those emotions.
Yeah, he's probably one of my favorite characters actually.
Yeah, I think he's really good. Like, R.I.P.
Yeah.
They're all better, and I think Gus is just intimidating. I like his revenge motives, but his conclusion is pretty unrealistic. Honestly, Gus, I think, is pretty amazing. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I love Walt and Gus. Like, I think that they are 2 characters that really showcase how the line between what's right and wrong is like blurred, and they are very similar with each other. They're both calculating, but they also at the same time like to think of themselves as individuals that make good decisions, but they both also have flaws, and those flaws end up being their downfall in the end. And I think that that's something that not only is strong writing, but it's realistic if you think about it, because the whole show is going for like a Shakespearean like approach, so it makes sense. I think the ending of Gus honestly is amazing. It's also one of my favorite shots. Like that shot of, again, trying to be vague here, but that shot of him just adjusting his tie and the camera slowly panning as he's doing it, like that is just like one of my favorite shots in that show. Like it's genius. Like I don't even care if it's realistic. I just think the fact that the first thing you think is how did he survive that, and then the camera just like slowly turns and you're like, oh, it's amazing. Like it's why I watch TV. Like it's so good. It's so good. And also, fun fact: that scene, the makeup artists for Walking Dead were utilized for that scene. He splits. I still think he's great, but people extremely overrate him in the Breaking Bad universe and Better Call Saul. I think he's better in Breaking Bad than Better Call Saul, but I do like him in Better Call Saul as well. He is not overrated. Are you serious? Ooh, it's getting good in the comment section. Gus has some pretty good depth and complexity as well. He kind of gets carried off on the other dynamics though. Yeah, but one could almost argue that that's kind of like with Walter White as well, where it's like the people surrounding him add to him and really build up his character. And that's like with Gus too. I mean, like at the end of the day, Gus, I think, is a fascinating character, and especially his like backstory, especially with like Los Polos Hermanos, like how that got made and everything, and like why he wants revenge in the first place. Like it's something that I don't know, I find to be fascinating, but someone like Mike, I think, also adds to him. But that's, I don't know, a main character is only as strong as the supporting characters, I think. Like even if you think about it, a show like I'm trying to think of a good example of a show. I guess I could use True Detective as an example. Like that show, it's an ensemble cast, but like even if you look at like I don't know Woody Harrelson as like the main character, because all the other characters surrounding him are strong and play off him really well, the show works. And I think it goes without saying, like that's how Breaking Bad is too, where it's like the villain is strong because of the people surrounding him. I think at least. Let's see. Just Guerrero. Oh, people, not you. By the way, it sounds like I'm hating. I think Gus is a perfect character. The universe just has so many well-written characters. I respect your take. Fair enough. What? I'm sorry. Do you like Gus? Like, do you like? Is he one of your favorite in regards to Breaking Bad, or is
I don't think he's one of my favorites, but I do like him. Obviously, I like all the characters pretty much. I don't really do rankings of characters. I think they all work off of each other and make the show work. So it's kind of hard for me to rank which ones, but there are ones I gravitate more towards too. Obviously, Hank being one of them, Walter. Um, those are probably my two. I'm trying to
those
think.
are? Yeah, I feel like for
Yeah,
most people, those are like the main two, like the drawing point.
yeah.
I mean, I will say Gus in terms of villains. I think that he's probably my favorite. Um, and I just also like how the build up to that whole dynamic of like Walt versus Gus. It's so good. Ace Plus, like even characters like Skylar and Hank are really well written. Yeah, Skylar, I really do not understand the hate for a character. Like I know there was a poll done and like with the most unlikable characters of TV, and for some reason Skylar ranked, I think it was number one. And I'm just like, there are so many more hateable characters. Like she's someone that it makes sense as to why she's reacting the way she does, like with all that's happening around her. And I know some people are like, oh, well, she had an affair, and it's like,
That's a lot of shows. Like
yeah, but
affairs are
it's
like pretty common actually.
and it's not even just like, oh, she had an affair. It's more of like, I mean, yeah, but her husband is literally causing deaths around him, like inadvertently, because like he is making one of the best products.
Yeah,
That's pure, but
he's
it's like
not even around. Like, where is he? And he's having he has health conditions.
I
She's
think it
on
would be a
set
lot
still.
different. Like I know that a big inspiration for the show was Scarface, but I would bet all the money I have that people would react a lot differently to Breaking Bad if you had like them go full Scarface. And by that I mean that as the show's progressing, you see Walter White actually like being with other women. People would react a little bit differently. I think I would again bet money on that, but because he's not really interested in that, like he's just sticking with his family. Like people are like okay with like his going against the law type mentality. But it's like, oh,
Yeah.
Skylar had an affair. It's like, oh my goodness, like it's terrible. Memorials. Ace Plus. One thing we can all agree on is Brian has the best performance in the universe. Bryan Cranston is great. Let's see. Joseph Guerrera. Layla was a great villain in Better Call Saul as well. Agreed.
Yeah.
Skylar was 3, Ramsey was 2, Joffrey was number 1 on the ranking you're talking about. Oh, that's good to hear. There was one ranking I saw though where I swear Skylar was number 1 and like Joffrey was number 2 and then 3 was Ramsey. And I was
Yeah,
like,
but with Joffrey and Ramsey, it makes sense why they would be hated. They're
yeah,
written to hate them.
one of them literally flays someone's skin. Like, so when the ranking I saw seeing Skylar over them, I'm like, y'all are tripping. Like someone that like slept with one person as opposed to someone that literally flays the skin of other people. I'm sorry, but like that's crazy. That's insanity to me. Or another person that like literally shoots people, with a bow and arrow in the bedroom and literally chops off someone else's head just because like I don't know. People are interesting, man. He splits. Layla is another intimidating character, but other than that, he doesn't have much to him. Oh, it's getting good in the comment section. Well, yeah, villains are intimidating.
Yeah, I'm surprised Frank Underwood didn't make that cut.
Frank Underwood's like such an interesting character. You got that southern drawl. Let me tell you something. He's good. Walter tried to sleep with the principal and no one cared. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people actually were praising him. They're like, "Oh, good for you, Walt." But it's like, dude, like he's trying to do what literally Skylar ended up doing later on. Which is funny because I didn't realize until this time around. I didn't realize like how early it was foreshadowed with like Skylar and Ted. They did a good job like setting that up. Holy cow, Ted though. Mr. Money Launderer.
Yeah, but I kind of felt bad for him though.
I did too, especially like I remember the scene involving the rug. That's all I'm gonna say. But like, I can't wait for the crawl space episode, man. Like that episode is like, it's so good. Like I'm already expecting like my Apple Watch. I'm already expecting my heart rate to like go up with that episode because it's just like it's exhilarating. Bryan Cranston's so good, man. Ace Joffrey is such a great character. The hate the actor gets is ridiculous. That I agree with. I do hate the fact that a lot of times if someone plays a character so well, they then get a lot of like hate where it's like, oh my goodness, like you're like this character. It's like, no, you dummy. It's called acting.
Well, he did a great job. I mean, he did his part. So
I don't think any actor deserves hate. Like, even though I know we discussed earlier about like Star Wars, but it's like Jake Lloyd for Star Wars 1, he did not deserve like all this hate. Like the actress that played
that's a
Rose,
different type of hate. That's a hate not because of the performance or character he's playing. That's just like the direction, the story is going. They're outraged by the story itself, maybe, or how the character is written.
well, the characters in general too. Like even the actor that played Jar Jar Binks, like he got a lot of hate for years, and it's like,
Yeah.
and it's like, it's just it's unwarranted. It's like those are
And now there's like a completely opposite reaction. Now people love him somehow.
People are weird, man. They really are. Like,
I don't know.
I know I'm weird, but it's like I don't go hating on actors. Like even an actor like Vin Diesel, like I'm not sending him hate mail and like saying like, oh my goodness, like how dare you, like.
No. But I mean, it's Star Wars. Star Wars is just a toxic place, They attack everybody. What is it? The Rose Tico character? She also had a lot of hate. It just comes with the job. When you're gonna take a role from Star Wars, just expect it, I guess.
Unfortunately, fandoms in general, I feel like that happens like eventually.
But
Uh,
Joffrey, he took a look. The actor, I forget his name, Gleason, something Gleason.
I think it's
Uh,
Jack Gleason.
yeah, he took a break, but we recently saw him this year in that movie with Liam Neeson.
Oh yeah, and oh, what's it called?
Uh,
Let me see. I really liked it. It's
yeah,
We both really liked it. I remember it was kind of a surprise for both of us because we thought that it was going to be Liam Neeson, like phoning it in. But in the Lane of Saints and Sinners,
there we go.
that was that was, and that's one Joseph. That's one that you might not think it's a neo western, but like it's 100% a neo western. Like literally the ending shot. I remember turning to Sergey and I was like, "This is definitely a neo western." Like it just instead of riding off in the sunset in a horse, he's riding off in the sunset in a car. But it's like it's got everything. Like even the score sounds very like western esque. Just to grow, so you didn't watch Better Call Saul then. It was literally him versus Layla, LOL. I mean, Gus involved too. I did watch Better Call Saul, obviously. I'm saying he's just an imposing threat. He doesn't have much to him other than that. Let's see. The fact that the crawl space episode parallels the final finale is insane. Yeah, there's actually a couple episodes too in season 2, I believe it is, that also parallel like the finale of Breaking Bad. Incredible the way that there's visual callbacks. Just Aguera, totally disagree. Thumbs down. Every scene he was in was tension. This is great. I agree with the tension. He's still a great character. That was his only character trait, though. We don't learn any backstory or motives. Obviously, you don't think he's good because you said he lacks character depth. I mean, I can still think he's good. I just don't think he's that deep. This is getting good. I need to get my.
Yeah, maybe they should be on the live stream.
I mean, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Like with some friends, I have like the whole debate of like Better Call Saul versus Breaking Bad, like which is better. And of
I
course,
don't think you can really compare, but
there's no right answer. It's one of those things that it's fun to do. And you know me, I'm of course like
Better
if I had
Call
to take a
Saul,
side, it'd be Breaking Bad.
Better Call Saul has bad episodes.
It has some episodes that are just like okay to solid. Breaking Bad doesn't miss a beat.
It took me like maybe 2 seasons to really get into Better Call Saul.
It took me 4 seasons.
Wow.
Like I was watching it, but it was like I've said this in some of my reviews. It was like a passive viewing experience.
Yeah.
Like I was watching and I was like, yeah, it's competently made, but didn't really grab me until later seasons.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad, the first frame, I was immediately hooked.
It's like the first season, like even watching the first episode, I think it was, there was like cameos from Breaking Bad. I'm like, why are the cameos? Like it does we don't need it. It doesn't service the story right now.
Yeah, I know exactly the cameo you're talking about because
it was literally like 2 minutes in.
Yeah, and when I saw that cameo, I'm not gonna lie, I stopped watching and then I think I continued like a couple years later. I had a very if we're using analogies, I had a very estranged relationship with Better Call Saul. Breaking Bad, not so much. Breaking Bad, I think the first time I tried to watch it, I think I got like 2 minutes in and I was like, I saw like, Walt in his undies and I was like, nope, not right now. And
yeah,
then,
I thought it was going to be a comedy. I originally remember picking up the DVD in the library before it was even popular and thinking, all right, I've seen Malcolm in the Middle. Maybe I'll like this. A completely different show.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, I think it was summer of 2014 when I tried to watch the pilot episode and I got a couple minutes in and I was like, nah, I'm not right now. I'm going to watch a movie. And I think the movie I ended up watching was Begin Again because I think I just needed something like light. And it was like 5-6 months later when I finally actually sat down and watched Breaking Bad. And I was like, why did I shut it off like 5 minutes in? Like, this is great.
Yeah, I remember watching the first season, and I think the show hadn't continued at the time, or it was like in between seasons. And I totally forgot about it until people were talking about it, and it was like 3 or 4 seasons in. And I'm like, oh wow. I totally forgot about the show.
I do love the first season of Breaking Bad. Like, it's interesting too how much the style in terms of camera angles, camera work, lighting. Those are all things that pretty much are consistent. But it is interesting in terms of like the actual colors and everything. Like
Right.
they changed so much from season 1 and 2 to 3. And then from what I understand, they used a different cinematographer in season 3 to 5, so that's why it looks a lot different. But I also thought that I was like, oh, maybe the early seasons were shot digitally, and then later on it was shot on film, or vice versa. But no, it's consistently shot on film.
I really like the intros. They're like, they foreshadow what's going to be happening later on.
Yep, dude.
You don't pay attention at the beginning. You're like, oh, they're just being artistic, whatever. Then you start noticing, like, oh, maybe that's just not floating there in the water for, it's for a reason.
Oh, dude, I was gonna say, because I know Nicolette's asleep now, but dude, we're watching season 2, right? And we keep seeing like the bear and everything, and like how it's clearly taking influence from Schindler's List. And Nicolette's like, I wonder what this is for now. And I'm like, oh, you don't remember the ending of season 2? She's like, no. And I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, you're in for one of the best twists of the whole show. Like, and I'm like, I'm not even like hyping it up. Like, I'm like, it literally, the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, like, that was brilliant.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see her reaction, because she hasn't seen the first 2 seasons in like years. So like she remembers what happens to Jane, but like she doesn't remember.
I mean, it's been years for me, but I have seen it twice. It's such a commitment to sit down and watch so many episodes, like
62 episodes. Yeah,
because you want to binge everything, and then you gotta like a break, especially since like when I work, there is no time to come back from work and watch a movie.
Yeah. There were some nights now that my job is like, I wake up earlier. There are some days where I'm like, when I get home and everything, if I have other stuff going on, there are some times where I only have time to really watch like an episode or two, as opposed to like a 2+ hour movie. So I get what you're saying. That's one of the reasons why I'm kind of juggling like all these different TV shows, because of that.
Yeah, because you don't want to sit down and watch just one episode.
Usually in the morning, I'll watch like a TV show, and then I'll try to watch a movie at night. Right now, Sons of Anarchy is my treadmill show. That and Banshee. When you go from a treadmill show to then like a sitting down and 100% paying attention, that's when it's on another level. But Sons of Anarchy hasn't reached that yet.
See, that was funny because I was watching Parasite originally when it first came out, and I kind of had that on when I was working my old job. Kind of have movies in the background, and I had that on, and then like I guess 20 minutes in, I'm like, nope, that's it. I need to watch this on a bigger screen and actually pay attention.
No joke, that happened to me with Fair Play. Like a Fair Play, I got like a couple minutes in, and Greta Gerwig said it best. There was like a round table years back, but like she said it where it's like when you're watching a movie, sometimes like right away you can tell that a director had a vision. And when that's the case, I'm like, I'm not watching this on my smartphone. I'm gonna watch this on the TV, my 75-inch. Fair Play, that happened with me. What was it called? Rebel Ridge. That happened. Like I started watching it like at work, and like 2 minutes in, I was like, nah, I'm waiting until I get home, because I'm like you can just immediately tell like it wants to hook you in. It's not background noise. It's okay. What's going to happen here?
Maybe I'll check it out then.
But just go into it knowing it's genre fair. Like it's not going to change your life. Like it's not like you'll be like, Chad, that was the greatest movie ever. Like that's the Citizen Kane of police movies. But I think you'll enjoy it. I expect 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5? Just 3? Now
I mean, police films I feel like you don't really like usually. The Departed.
I like it. I gave it 3.5.
Unacceptable, Sergey. French Connection.
Well, I'll be rewatching it. Maybe it goes up this time.
I will be curious to hear your thoughts on like second viewing of French Connection.
And then whatever other movie we're watching.
Tucker, the Man and His Car.
What is that?
It's a Francis Ford Coppola directed film.
Really? Okay.
It's pretty significant, honestly, in regards to his career. Like the film itself, from what I understand, it's competent. It's supposed to be good. which is why I'm also excited. But like he, from what I understand, he had just gotten out of debt because the film One from the Heart was like a huge swing for the fences and it was like a financial disaster. So what happened was he then had to do a bunch of like studio movies to pay off his debt, and then he finally got out from under that, and then he did Tucker the Man in His Car, and I think that it did okay at the box office, but it was like a return to form from what I understand. So it's funny because the only two films left of Coppola that I have to watch is One from the Heart, which is the one that bankrupted him,
Right.
and
And
Tucker, the one that got him back on track. Before I think Tucker came out before Dracula, but then Dracula he was able to like take a huge swing for the fences and like, yeah, it's a crazy film. It really is.
I'll be watching Dracula this October for the first time.
I'm curious to hear how you'll like it because it's not a perfect film. Like Keanu Reeves, you'll see. Keanu Reeves. But like the filmmaking is amazing. Like he uses all the visual effects are like in camera. It's like a throwback to like 1930s and 40s filmmaking. And it's got a score that is just it's so good. Like it's funny because when I first saw Dracula, I was like, I've heard this music before. And then I was like, oh, they used the music in like the trailer for Pirates of the Caribbean, like the first one. And I saw that trailer many times, like growing up from like Disney movies where like they would show the trailer for the first Pirates of the Caribbean with other stuff I was watching. So like it's just kind of funny that that theme song like is what Disney used for like other
See, what's
trailers.
funny was I watched Pirates of the Caribbean way before I watched Gladiator.
And yeah, and the score for Pirates of the Caribbean you associate with that, even though Hans Zimmer used it with Gladiator first. Yeah, Hans Zimmer, like it all started with a Thin Red Line, but like he uses certain motifs and then he'll use it in like a bunch of other films, and it works to a certain extent. Like I think that his theme in the Thin Red Line, he used it in let's see, Inception, 12 Years a Slave. I'm trying to think what else he used that main part in, but like I think it works. But there are other films where it's like he kind of phones it in, but yeah. Oh, bunch of different comments. A splits. I think it's all down to preference. Yep. Oh no, Breaking Bad is better hands down. Oh, we can all agree. Oh, this is getting good. A bunch of people think Better Call Saul is better. It's a 50-50 from what I've seen. Yeah, I know some people that think Better Call Saul is better. I don't agree with that, but
I mean, it's a totally different show. It's more legal drama.
Legal drama, and there's an emphasis on like comedy. It gets more serious towards the later seasons, of course, but
it's not as good. I still really enjoyed it. And in fact, I think a lot of people haven't seen it. So I don't know.
It's pretty wild that show. I think it got like 50 some Emmy nominees, and it didn't win any, from what I understand. And I think it holds the record for the most nominations with not a single win. Wow. But to be fair, it came out every year. It came out. There was like another show where it's like, I mean,
was it The Crown or something?
No. There was like for example, it lost to Succession.
Okay.
I don't disagree with that. Like, Succession's pretty darn good. Like, really good. I don't know. It's tough. I think also, what was the other show? Was it Mad? No, it wasn't Mad Men. I forget. I'd have to look up my Emmy history, but I remember there was other shows where it was like, I mean, yeah, I wasn't going to beat this. Just agree. I mean, it's the original, not a spinoff either. Ace Flats. I honestly don't know where I stand on it. They're pretty equal, in my opinion. Better Call Saul is such a great character study. I do agree with that. Dude, the movie we talked about earlier, I'm gonna end all the. I did not need to see a naked janitor at Almea. Oh, I'm thinking of ending.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. I need to rewatch that film.
I do too. That's another movie that doesn't have a physical media run.
Unfortunately, that's how Joseph and we were talking about it earlier. Because
that's a Charlie Kaufman film, right?
Mm-hmm. Synecdoche, New York, like that film is wild. Like it starts off where you're like, I got this. I like this is, easy enough to follow along, and then all of a sudden, like, the editing like fluctuates, and you're like, wait a minute, what's happening? And then you're like, wait a minute, and then you're like, you're just you're left behind, but like in a fascinating way. And then it's like every time I watch this film, I get like different emotions. Like last time I cried watching SkynetGen New York, I was like, holy cow! Like, and it's like if I was watching it with someone and they were like, why are you crying? I'd be like, the emotions of this scene. Like I wouldn't be like, oh, it's because this happened. It'd be like, it's because I felt the emotions of like this character, what they were experiencing. But like it's got that like dreamlike logic of like Mulholland Drive, where it's like if you go into it thinking that it's gonna 100% make sense, it's not the film for you. But like I'm thinking of ending things, there's also like that where it's like you're not gonna 100% know it. It's not a one-off viewing. Like you have to watch it multiple times. Going. The Breaking Bad pilot is phenomenal. Agreed. Ace Pledge Chad, didn't you say you were 18 or 19 when you first tried Breaking Bad? I just turned 18. And yeah, I think I just turned 18. It was like a month after I turned 18. And yeah, I the first time I tried it, like I said, I only got like 5 minutes in. But when I actually sat down with like the mindset of I'm gonna watch this show, it immediately captivated me. But that was like again a couple months later, like I think 4 or 5 months later.
Yeah. I first saw it like in 2008, I think.
Oh yeah, so you were like, yeah, you're one of the originals then.
Well, I mean, the first season hit DVD, and that's when I saw it, but it was before season 2. So, but yeah.
So probably yeah, either late 2008 or early 2009. But that's still like, a lot of people, like you said, they got into the show in season 3 or 4. I was late. Like when the show ended, that's when I was like, all right, let me see what this is all about. And it did not disappoint. Just Segura, I love Saw Undercover at Annie Ann's Pretzel Scenes Element. Expense, I love the twist of Walter poisoning Brock at the end of Face Off. The show honestly could have ended there. And that's the power of Breaking Bad, is that the creators, they weren't sure if they were going to get renewed after season 4. So they made it so that season 4, if it was the finale, it would work. So season 4 is amazing. It really is. Training Day, awesome cop movie. I like Training Day. Sergey, have you seen Training Day?
Was that Ethan Hawke and Denzel Washington?
Yeah.
I remember thinking it was all right. I didn't love it.
It grew on me. Like, it's one of those films that the first time I saw it, I thought it was solid, but I picked it up on 4K, which was my last Best Buy haul. RIP Best Buy. It looks amazing on 4K. Like, it's really good looking.
Yeah, I gave it 3 out of 5.
That's fair. I think my rating went up to like a 4. Excuse me, on rewatch. I like it. I like it quite a bit.
It's like Anton Fuqua.
Yeah, Fuqua's 2 movies that stand out for me are The Equalizer and then Training
King
Day.
Arthur.
I like both of those.
Okay. I only own King Arthur.
King Arthur I enjoy. I have a soft spot for that.
Yeah.
Especially the director's cut.
Better than the Guy Ritchie King Arthur.
Oh, 100%. 100%. You know me. Like, I have a soft spot for Guy Ritchie, but that King Arthur movie, yikes. That's all I'm going to say. The View with True, aside from Tony Stark and Endgame, what do you think is the saddest Marvel movie death? Ooh, Sergey, I'll let you take this one first.
The saddest movie death? Probably, I guess, Tony Stark, probably. I mean, that's...
Aside from Tony Stark, you said.
Oh, besides. Oh.
Yeah. I know it's a tough one because I feel like that's the one we all think of where it's like, oh.
I mean, I don't know, Black Panther, does that really count?
Yeah, I would say that counts.
But that's more so because the actor passed away, not because it was written into the story very well.
The View with Drew, I do love how you worded this with saddest Marvel movie death because it happens so few times. If you said just superhero movie like deaths in general, easily I would say a certain character's death in Watchmen, like the 2009 movie. That death I thought was really sad. Not going to say who, in case people in the chat haven't seen watch
Yeah.
her. But that I thought was a sad death.
Yeah, Marvel, it's difficult because, Guardians of the Galaxy, the latest one that came out, it has a certain character death, but I didn't really feel anything for that.
Well, and it's also like there's always that wonderment of, is this character going to come back?
Yeah.
Like we don't know that. Like,
Especially after, was it Infinity War? A lot of people did die, only for them to come back.
yeah, it kind of mutes the impact, unfortunately.
Which, those had a lot of, sad deaths. Just, characters reacting like Spider-Man, you know.
That was a good reaction. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, those deaths were in the moment. They were really good and really interesting. But
But
it's
even then, when we were watching, we were like, we know they're gonna come back.
yeah. And to be honest with you, that's all Marvel's fault because they like it's good to have a plan. It's good to have an outline, but audiences don't need to necessarily know that outline. So like I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot by revealing that, oh, there's going to be a Black Panther 2. Oh, there's going to be a Spider-Man 2 and 3. It's like, well, I guess I wonder who comes back from all this. I wonder. So,
And then a lot of the characters are unkillable, so they just regenerate like Deadpool.
or Logan. I mean,
Yeah.
Wolverine's death in Logan, like I mean,
Well,
yeah,
they explained it, right? As long as they make a joke about it, then
it's a different variation.
yeah.
Got it. Got it. And it's like, oh, it doesn't ruin it. It's like, I mean, okay, but
I mean, I like that opening shot in Deadpool and Wolverine.
I like the old boy esque scene, like at towards the
Yeah.
end. I thought that was like I wasn't expecting an old boy reference in Deadpool Wolverine, so that was nice. Honestly, I've kind of forgotten most of that movie.
I just
Other
remember I
than
remember the beginning and a few scenes here and there, but I know if I watch it again, it's gonna dip. It's gonna be Spider-Man No Way Home.
I know I always
They
get
gotta
confused.
stop naming this that way.
No Way Home, Far From Home,
Far
To
from good.
Home, From Home. Yeah, dude,
I
like
do like the first one. The first one I do own on 4K, but the second one I thought was all right, but I don't need to watch it again. And the third one, nah, not good.
yeah, I was ahead of the curve with that one. I'll never forget though, like releasing that review. I was like, oh gosh, I'm gonna get so much hate because like I was seeing so many people like give 4.5, 5, and I was just like,
Well, it's the same people that are giving the Deadpool and Wolverine high ratings.
true. And I understand it. Like
Yeah,
nostalgia is very powerful, and
yeah.
I am glad for people. Like I
Well,
am
I mean,
glad.
most people go in, and as long as they just have fun with it, that's all they need. They're not expecting the greatest, the next Silence of the Lambs or something.
No, I mean, and I went in. I just wanted a fun time too, but like overall, I just didn't really have that much fun with it, which is why it was kind of a detriment. Like I had like we saw it together. Like
Yeah, I mean, I
I
gave it
had
three
moments where I did
stars.
laugh.
I gave it 3 stars. We saw it opening day. I mean,
It was nice watching it with a crowd.
yeah,
I will say.
I gave Transformers 1 a higher rating.
Well, it's not understandable. I mean, he split says need to watch Succession. 100% agree. Succession it's so good, and each season builds like they get really good. The last season I think is probably my favorite, honestly. And that was amazing. Like watching Succession and Better Call Saul, like the final season of each, like week to week, was awesome. I remember, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Better Call Saul's finale was like the same weekend as Succession's finale, which was like kind of bittersweet. And Barry also ended like the same weekend, so it was very bittersweet. Just where I love my Black Widow, so I'm missing her. Scarlett Johansson, yeah, Scarlett Johansson is great. Spider-Man 30, homeless. Is it wrong for me to say that like Tom Holland's rendition is like my least favorite? Like, is that like a hot take, or am I allowed to say that? Like,
It's all right.
he's all right. I don't know. I prefer my favorite is Miles Morales, like the animated, and then followed by I would say Andrew Garfield. Yeah, I know. Sue me now. And then Tobey Maguire, and then Tom Holland.
Really.
Yeah, Bland Holland. Yeah.
I feel
Just
like a lot of these newer stars, they're fanboying when they get the roles, so they're very different when they first start the movie. Like Tom Holland, he's a lot more unlikable in the first movie, I'd say, than any of the later movies. And I feel like that's the same thing that I saw in Star Wars, Force Awakens, with like the Daisy Ridley and was it John Boyega? You could tell they're very excited. Like it's hard for them to hold it in, and they become different as the series plays out a little bit.
I wonder why. What studio is it that they're working for? Ha! Oh boy, we're gonna make you guys sellouts. Ha! Oh boy. That's why. Because think about it, it's like you get an exciting role, and it's like this is great. Like I have so much to look forward to. Then the movie comes out, and then a bunch of fans like basically attack you. So it's like it makes it exciting. It's like it like I feel bad for the stars. I do. I know they're making millions, but it's like I still feel
Yeah.
bad for them because it's
I
like
mean, a lot of people. I mean, in Star Wars, they almost lose their career. Luckily,
yeah,
Natalie Portman got out of it. You know, went to do great things.
Black Swan. She's a great actress, but yeah, a lot of times there's just so much hate for them, and it's unnecessary. Like I don't like the prequels, but Hayden Christensen, the amount of hate he got, it's unnecessary. It's like the dude seems very chill. Like get
Yeah,
off his back. Like just let him live his life.
they
Like
are off his back. They like him now.
they like him now. It only took when did the last one come out? 2005. It only took 15 plus years. It's too long.
They always loved Ewan McGregor.
Oh, he's great. It's funny to think that Transpotting is why he got Obi-Wan Kenobi's role. Like like if Transpotting never came out, it's like I wonder who they would have cast as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like just crazy. Like imagine watching Transpotting and like George Lucas is like, oh yeah, this is the guy I want as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Oh yeah.
Well, that was the first movie I saw him in was Star Wars. So
Yeah. I just think it's funny. Like I love that just knowing that little behind the scenes where it's like Transpotting is what got him that role. Just Guerrero, LOL, crying emoji. Film Kid says, "Hey, I'm back. Good to hear, man. I was gone for so long that I just watched an over 90-minute movie." What movie was it that you watched? I don't like the Tom Holland rendition. I agree with Chad's ranking. I'm glad to hear that. Ace Paulette's the Mickey impression. So I have two impressions, and I do it a lot, especially around my dog. The Donald Duck one is like really good, but I'm not going to do it because my dog like freaks out in a good way. Like it like when I do it, he gets like all excited and he'll like go all frantic. I'm not about to do it though because it's like late at night. But yeah, the Mickey Mouse one, Donald Duck, I've gotten really good at. I'm still working on the Goofy one. That's one that is kind of tough. Minnie Mouse, I don't think I'll ever be able to do. That one's tough. But years of practice. At my old job, ironically, there was someone that was like obsessed with like Disney related stuff, in particular Mickey. So he would randomly be like, "Chat, do your impression of like Mickey Mouse," and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm on the phone with the customers." "Oh, okay." Afterwards, so I would just hang up and I would write my notes and everything, and then I would give my impression of like Mickey Mouse. So you do a decent job when someone that loves Mickey Mouse like compliments you. Just a rare. I think I like Toby over Garfield though. Garfield is better acting. Agreed. Toby fits that Poindexter character better. But yeah, Garfield over Holland. Although I do wonder if like years from now people will be like, oh, Holland's the best rendition. The View of True. Do you think it's a good idea to resurrect a dead actor with CGI? Ooh, I like these questions. I'll answer this first, and then Sergey, I'll have you answer it. No, I think it's a terrible idea. It like, I don't think that it works at all. The closest that I've seen it work was Blade Runner 2049, but that was someone that was alive. Every other time that it's done to have a character that isn't alive, it always looks so distracting, and it's like it just came out and it doesn't work. Like think about Ghostbusters, not the recent one, the one that came before it. Alien Covenant. I mean, not Alien Covenant. Alien Romulus. Like the scene of a certain CGI character being resurrected, like just seeing him on screen, it immediately took me out of the movie. Well, what's your take though, Sergey, with this? Like, how do you feel about it? Is it something that doesn't work with you as well? I think Sergey's frozen.
No, okay, there we go. Yeah.
There we go. I
I
was
don't know if
like,
it was on my end or your end.
no. I was like, is Sergey speechless?
I was sorry. Where are we at?
Oh, I was. Do you think it's a good idea to resurrect the dead actor with CGI?
I think I'm okay with it for just a small sequence, but not just like a couple of minutes with that character where they have a lot of dialogue. I think Star Wars uses it the most so far that I've seen it. Like I was okay with it in Rogue One because it's trying to bridge Rogue One and the original Star Wars film. So I was all right with that. But then we had it in one of the TV shows where they had Luke Skywalker come back, or they de-aged him. Sorry, never mind. But
Oh yeah,
in that type of like role where they have multiple like minutes where they have dialogue, I don't think that would be appropriate.
yeah. The View of Drew says, for me, it depends on what the situation is. For instance, Fury 7 made sense because Paul Walker died during filming. I think in that situation, though, like, I know the ending
There was
makes
like family consent with that.
there was family consent, but also they had his brother as a stand-in. I do think though that they could have handled it better. Like I don't think that they should have had a shot where it was clearly a like a deep fake of him. Like I think that they should have had him as a stand-in, but have it where you don't see his face. I know some people are like, "Oh, I want to see his face because it's his character arc," but in that instance, it takes away the emotional moment where it's like when you see his face and you're like, "I know that's not him." It just
But they
pulls me
were
out.
they were already shooting the movie, so they already poured in lots of money. Like it would be like, how do you do that then? You just
Well,
reshoot
that's
it.
what I was saying. Like, did you see Fury 7?
Yeah,
The way it was shot at the very end, I think that they have one shot where the camera slowly zooms in to Paul Walker to like really emphasize that this is like his last scene. And all I'm saying is that I think besides that shot, I think it's handled well. I just think the fact that they have that, it really emphasizes what we know as someone that isn't, actually
right.
there. I think that if they had it where it was like, from behind that specific shot, it probably would have been more effective. Like Vin Diesel's not the greatest actor, but focus on his reaction. Like I think that would have been something that would have worked better
Yeah, that makes
because
sense.
a deep fake Paul Walker just I don't know, it stands out. Like I remember when that movie came out, I was like, people were crying over this. Like I don't know. I was just more like distracted over this.
Yeah, but the
Um,
technology is still not really there where it's convincing enough anyway.
Oh yeah. I mean, we see how AI technology is, so just a rare MG should hear my Mickey impersonation. I'm glad to hear I'm not the only one that has one. Film Kid tomorrow. I'm releasing my Monty Python ranking, and so I watched Life of Brian. So now I just need to watch Meaning of Life and Knocked Out, the entire trilogy. Yeah, I'll be curious to hear your thoughts on Meaning of Life. I love Monty Python, the Holy Grail. That really grew on me. And Life of Brian, I do need to rewatch. The View of Drew, but the Flash attempting to resurrect Christopher Reeve. Superman of CGI was awful. Yeah, that was painful to watch. Or even I know Nicolas Cage is still alive, but even just like putting him in a Superman suit, like it didn't even look like he was in it, to be honest.
But he was supposed to be Superman.
Yeah, no, I know that, and I know that that's why they had him, but it seemed like it was a deep fake, to be honest. At least that's the impression I got watching it.
Yeah, maybe they didn't want to pay him.
Nah, they probably were like, oh, just Guerrero Stitch is my favorite. I do my voices for all my students. Lilo and Stitch. I think I've only seen parts of it. I remember not liking it, but I think I might give it a second chance before the live action rendition comes out.
Oh gosh.
Yep, another live action one. The View with Drew, keep watching burn comedy movies from the 2000s decade. Pineapple Express, The Hangover, Tropic Thunder. Sergey, have you seen all three of these?
I've seen Pineapple Express. Yeah, I've seen all of these.
My ranking, I'll be curious to hear yours. Mine is Tropic Thunder number one, Hangover number two, and then Pineapple Express number three.
That's
What about you?
exactly my ranking.
Yours too? Oh, okay. All right, we're on the same page.
I
Yeah,
guess
Tropic.
Pineapple Express I didn't really like, but I mean
Yeah,
I could see why people like it.
yeah. I watched that with John, ironically, like 9 years ago, and we both said the same thing like 9 years ago. We were like, "Yeah, if you're high, I'm sure this movie's hilarious, but like if you're watching it sober, it's like it's not that
I
funny."
mean, if you watch anything, it'll be hilarious probably.
Depends. It really depends. Film kid. Have you seen Small Soldiers? And if so, what do you think? Have I seen that? Let me check Letterboxd. Actually, I don't know if I have, to be honest. Sergey, have you seen Small Soldiers?
No, I know we were soldiers.
Oh, you know what? I am familiar with Small Soldiers, but I have not seen it. But the director, I do like the director. He did the two Gremlin films, and Gremlins 2 in particular, I think is hilarious. Like it's such a meta film. Like it's literally making fun of its predecessor. Like Sergey, they legit have there was one critic that hated the first Gremlins, and there's literally a scene in the film where he's reading his review of the first one before getting attacked by gremlins. It is hilarious. It's such a good film. Like I'm so glad I finally saw it. Ace Splits, if they do it with dead actors too, it's pretty disrespectful in my opinion. What if they didn't want to be in it? It's true. And it's a shame too, because a lot of times it is like corporate greed where it's like, hey, we want to make money, and we know that if we show this person, people will be like, oh, awesome. Just where if it's agreed by family and it's short to the point, I'm okay with it. Otherwise, disrespectful. Very fair. Let's see. Film kit. I went to Dollar Tree today to see what I can add to my physical media collection. I got Paranormal Activity 3 unrated director's cut on Blu-ray. Oh, that sounds like a pretty good find. Like you can find like Sergey and I, we talk about this all the time. Like you can find a lot of really good deals at the dollar store. Like recently, Sergey, didn't you get like Game Night for $1?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I got RoboCop a while back for $1.
Yeah, I got that from the dollar store as well.
I buy that for $1.
And Gravity.
Gravity for $1.
I will own that for $1.
Oh gosh. Film kid, I really want to join you for one of these live streams. Really would want to. Yeah, man, maybe in the future. I know I have other people as well that have also asked about it. My YouTube friend Larry, I recently was on his channel, and he's thinking about coming on my channel pretty soon. It's funny because I did a Game of Thrones trivia with him, and I was doing okay at first in regards to the trivia, but then it got to like the dragons, and I was like, I was doing terrible. Like I just did not know any of the dragons for House of Dragon.
Oh no.
But
No.
I redeemed myself because I kid you not, there was like 11 questions about score. Like he would basically I was playing against other people, and he would play the score for like someone's theme in Game of Thrones, and all 11 questions I got right. Like so, like I was like, okay, the theme songs for characters in Game of Thrones and House of Dragon I got, but dragons I'm not good at. Just Aguero, we should get a big podcast going, one episode, 5 to 6 of us. So actually with what I'm using StreamYard, you can actually do I think it is 5 to 6 people. I have thought about possibly doing like something where it is like 5 to 6 people, but the only thing is I know with like internet connections, I'm like kind of worried because I'm like it's more manageable when it's just like 3 people or less in terms of or not 3 people. Yeah, 3 people or less because it's like there's less like possibility of like accidental over talking happening. And also, if someone has a question, it's a lot easier for a couple people to answer as opposed to like 5, 6 people. But it's not a bad idea. I've actually had a couple other subscribers mention about like, hey, like coming on and everything, which is nice. I actually have I'm surprised he's not in the chat, but I actually have David Pictures. He actually is part of my Patreon now. So meaning that basically when if he ever comments, like he basically I have to answer his question first. So he was on last week. I'm surprised he's not this time. Film Kid, I think I need to start pushing on my podcast. I have one episode out there, and that's with Sean Chandler. Dude, that's awesome. Like Sean Chandler, I reached out to him. When was that? I think it was January of 2021. I reached out to him because I was like, hey, you know, would you like to come on my channel? Because I know he does like ranking lists too. So I was like, seemed kind of fitting. But at that time, I think it was shortly after there was like some storms happening in like Texas, so he couldn't. But he could have just been nicely turning me down, either one. But it's weird though because like I reach out to people on Instagram, but like when you reach out to someone on Instagram, like for some reason the messaging works a little bit differently. I don't know if it's just because certain people have like a certain amount of subscribers, so then everything else could be looked at as like not clickbait, but spam almost. So I'm like, all right, well, what else would I reach out to them on? Like comment section on YouTube? It's not going to happen. They get thousands of comments. But it would be cool to collaborate with Sean Chandler because I know that he is, a nice guy, and at the same time, he does ranking videos.
But he watches a lot of mainstream stuff mostly.
Oh yeah, but he does watch like he does. He's been watching Indian cinema.
Really,
It's really cool. So he has kind of branched off, but he does know his audience. Where it's like, this is the bread and butter. This is what pays the bills.
There's one was it Austin Butler, I think is his name. He's pretty cool.
Austin Burke.
Austin Burke, sorry.
Yeah.
He's pretty good.
I've reached out to certain ones. Like I reached out to, let's see, Brian. Brian Moreau, that's his name. He does a lot of Academy Award stuff. So of course I reached out to him because me, like I do a lot of that stuff. But he hasn't read my message. Like but it's understandable because again it's through Instagram. It's weird. Like when you send a message, it says like, "Oh, this may not be read," and it's like, okay, so how do I get this to be read? Like okay. Let's see. Who else did I reach out to? Sydney Volpe, I think her name is. I reached out to her a while back. Who else?
Do these people do collaborations, or are they just usually?
I've seen them collaborate like before, but it's weird because I saw one person that I'm planning to do a collaboration with. They told me that it's hard to message them, but they didn't really tell me how to message them. So I was like, okay, whatever. I also reached out to Jeff at Films at Home.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, but again, like the message, it's not read, but it's also like it's in that limbo of like, oh, this may not be read. So it's like I don't know, like what am I supposed to do? Just like in the comment section, like tag him, like, dude, answer your messages.
Gotta go to his house.
Oh gosh, that is possible too, because like he lives in Boston, a couple hours away. But that would be cool because he seems like a pretty nice guy, and I really admire his content with what he brings to the physical media world, and he also has influence too, which is cool. But right now, I'm trying to think. Like like in terms of collaborations, I also collaborated with Carlos and Misfit Pond, but I haven't collaborated with him in a while because he kind of stopped doing collaborations. But I still watch his stuff.
Mm.
But he's kind of slowed down in regards to videos. I think it's because Perry stopped going on the channel. If I had to guess.
But he had a short film that he released recently.
Yeah, I saw it. Did you watch it yet? The Red Egg.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I quite liked it. He I really admire his style. Like, and he clearly likes Nicholas Winding Refn, and I really dug his work. He splits the music in the Winds of Winter is so good. Absolutely agree. Are you a big Harry Potter fan, Chad? Is it sad? I went through the whole series for the first time last year. So my wife is a huge Harry Potter fan. For me, I think it's a solid series. I respect it quite a bit, but I'm not like in love with it. I own it on 4K, but no, I don't think it's sad that you watched it for the first time last year. I'm actually kind of curious to hear your thoughts, like knowing that you didn't grow up with it and that's like a first time watch. I'm very curious because I know for a lot of people there's that nostalgia factor where it's like, oh, each year there was a new Harry Potter movie, and I was able to experience this as it was, coming out. For me, I was late to it. Like I didn't watch the first one until I think I was like 17 or 18, so I was very late to it.
No, I grew up with them. I think I was 8 when I got the first VHS of the first film,
Oh
and kind of
wow!
was watching them as they were growing up. So I'm a big fan of it.
And you were able
Obviously,
to grow up with the characters.
nostalgia is attached. Um, so I can't really imagine a new cast filling those shoes.
No,
I don't know. I'll give it a try. I'll be open minded for the new series, but I'm not expecting a whole lot.
especially with how we've seen how they handle like the franchise with the Fantastic Beasts movies. It's like that's how they're going to handle it. Like,
Yeah, I mean it's not going to be shot on film. There's probably the special effects are probably not going to look all that good. I don't know.
and also like how much more can you add to
Yeah, what could
the
you?
Harry Potter
Yeah. I mean, you're
series?
going to see everything you've already seen, maybe in more depth, maybe additional characters that you didn't really need in the movie. That's why we have that difference between books and movies.
Yeah, I'm to be honest with you,
And it's
I'm
funny because people were complaining about the second movie and how everything that's in the book is, in the movie and it's too long.
you can never please
No,
a fan of the book,
no.
never. But that's why I always tell people I'm like it's two different mediums. Like,
Yeah. And some things don't translate well from book to movie.
yeah, I remember you telling me like Dune that like Dune Part Two they did a really good job adapting because they cut out certain things and the
Yeah.
things that they actually added like
Yeah.
enhanced the actual material.
Yep.
And that's just it. It's an adaptation. It's not a copy and paste. So it's like you're gonna have to add some things.
Yeah.
Film Kid, can I hear both of your Stanley Kubrick rankings? I'm curious. Oh gosh, I have a ranking video, but it was from 5 years ago, and it's changed quite a bit because I think I had Barry Lyndon like number 6 or 7, I think something like that. I think now my top three changes daily, but I think for right now it would be number one, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Number two, I think would be a Clockwork Orange or The Shining, and then The Shining number three, and then I think Barry Lyndon, and then I want to say The Killing. The Killing really grew on me. Like I love The Killing. Um, and then it's tough. It's tough. And then either I'll say Eyes Wide Shut, and then Full Metal Jacket. Oh no, Paths of Glory, then Full Metal Jacket. This is the thing, like with Stanley Kubrick ranking, it's very tough. Then probably Lolita, then Spartacus. Now keep in mind, Spartacus, I know I have it closer towards the end, but like I really like Spartacus. But that just goes to show like the quality of Stanley Kubrick's filmography. And then his first two movies, they're like at the bottom for me. What's yours looking like, Sergey, though?
I'm trying to see because I've only seen let's see, 8 of his movies, I think.
Still a really good amount.
Yeah.
Because yeah, you haven't seen Lolita,
I haven't
Eyes
seen
Wide
I
Shut.
haven't seen Eyes Shut, Paths of Glory, Lolita.
Wait, you haven't seen Paths of Glory?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you should watch that in November.
Okay. That's Criterion, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really good.
Let's see. What others have I not seen? Lolita is Killer's Kiss, a feature film.
Yeah, that was that and Fear and
Fear
Desire
and
were like
Desire. Okay.
his first two.
So I'd say my ranking right now is probably 2001: A Space Odyssey, followed by Barry Lyndon. Probably then Clockwork Orange, The Killing, and Spartacus.
Spartacus is good.
Then probably The Shining, Doctor Strangelove, and Full Metal Jacket.
Oh wow, so you're not a big fan of Full Metal Jacket?
No, I'm not a fan.
Oh, I like it. It's gotten better with each viewing. It sneaks up on me. Like the last viewing, it was like, oh, I see why the first half and second half like feel like two different films. I forgot about Doctor Strangelove in my ranking. Doctor Strangelove would probably be I think I would have it maybe ahead of Spartacus, but it's tough. It's tough. Like I know I want to do a re-ranking of his work, but it's tough because he does so many great films, or did, I should say. Film Kid next week releases are Whiplash, The Matrix, and The Babadook. Of those three, Whiplash is the only one that's included with a list. I know, Sergey.
I'm
I know
seeing it.
you're seeing it Thursday, and I was thinking about joining you, but I'm still on the fence because of
Do it.
different plans. I know. I'm trying to decide. Like it's tough.
I
love the film,
never got the theater experience to see that, so I'm definitely seeing it.
Oh, the theater experience is great, man.
Yeah, I mean it's one of my favorite films of all time. I'm definitely gonna see it. Especially it's included in A list, but it's only $5 if it's not. So
Whiplash is so good.
Yeah.
As Joseph Guerrero said, Whiplash is so good. Yeah, it's basically Full Metal Jacket Music Edition, and it's so good. So good.
Yeah, my friend's gonna be seeing it for the first time, so
You got to bring your action film fan. Like,
see, the thing is, he says I've seen it, but you know, it tells me like he didn't really enjoy it or he didn't care for it. It's like he doesn't say anything about it. So
not enough action.
No action. No.
The ending should have been Andrew Nemec getting blown up.
There was no symbol between, in his head, so it's not good enough.
Could you imagine Whiplash, like the John Wick edition, where it's like instead of him like slapping him, he's just like punching him and then like shooting him? Ace Blitz. I've heard season 2 of Hannibal is pretty masterful, but what about season 1? Season 1's pretty great, and it does a good job of setting up season 2. So excited for October to rewatch both of these. My plan is to finish Twin Peaks: The Return by the end of this month, and then just go right into Hannibal, October 1st.
So for re-releases, there was the Babadook. I'll be rewatching that in October.
Babadook's so good.
Yeah, I haven't logged it on Letterboxd, so definitely need to do that. It's one of my favorite horror films of all time.
It's good. It's really good. I'll never forget the first time I saw it. It was like 2 a.m. Like that was an experience. Like, Film Kid, I got to see Deathly Hallows Part 2 in theaters. Part 2 really grew on me on rewatch, honestly. Ace Blitz, still never watched Harry Potter, and I'm 17, nearly 18.
Yeah. Deathly Hallows Part 2 is actually my least favorite of the entire series.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the emotional moments and just the score like are what really kind of elevate it for me. Like the twist with Snape, I really like.
I don't know. I could see why.
But I will say the last like 10 minutes where it's like, when they're all older, like
the epilogue I'm not a fan of at all.
Understand.
I didn't like it in the book either, though.
Oh, okay. Oh, so that was something I was like pretty faithful to the book.
Yeah, the 19 years later thing. Yeah.
So specific too. 19 years later.
I wonder why.
Film Kid on a re-release. Wait, there's a new Harry Potter series. Wasn't aware. Yeah, it's coming out on HBO. I think it's in the next year or two. I think right now they're currently doing like casting.
They're casting. It was funny because I saw the Instagram post where like sign up to your kid. It must be between this age and whatever. I think you have to reside in England.
Oh gosh. Oh boy.
So at least they'll be British.
Joseph Guerrero, Shining, A Clockwork Orange, Full Metal Jacket, probably top 3, no order. Yeah, those 3 are great. 2001: A Space Odyssey, though. Andrew Lay is in the house. How's it going, guys? Sorry for checking in late. Dude, you missed it. We talked politics at the beginning. Actually, speaking of politics, so you'll be able to find this funny, Sergey. So you remember, Kevin Clark, right?
Yeah.
So Kevin Clark, for frame of reference, he used to live in Ohio, and we watched. I think it was a month or so ago. We watched Gummo, which takes
Oh
place in
boy.
Ohio.
Yeah.
And when we were watching it, like afterwards, I asked him, I was like, "So, how accurate was this movie in regards to Ohio?" And he said it's pretty accurate. So, of course, after the debate, I reached out to him. I was like, "So, dude, like, our cats and dogs are, are immigrants eating cats and dogs like in Ohio?" And he's like, "Chad, that doesn't happen like with the immigrants." He's like, it's the people that are Americans living in Ohio." He's like, "You saw Gummo, you know how it is." And I was like, "It's hilarious." So yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I still need
watching
to
the
see those
debate
others.
live and hearing that, I literally was like,
Yeah. And he kept
okay.
going on about it.
Yeah, now it's squirrels. I kid you not, like now it's squirrels. And I'm like,
I had a question: were they getting eaten raw, or they're cooking them? Like, let's get into the details.
yeah, they're not going into the details, which is a shame. I want to see a movie about this, to be honest with you.
Well, we are getting a Trump movie, right?
We are the Apprentice, which
Mhm.
it's a hilarious backstory because that movie got greenlit because, from what I understand, don't quote me. From what I understand, the movie was made with the financial backings from, like, I think some of Trump's like guards, not guards, but like people that are in his circle because they thought it was
Be-
going to be like praising
Before or
him.
after they were fired?
That's a good question. Like I said, fact check me on this. I am just going based off from what I understand. But so the movie got greenlit because it's an indie film, and the film, when it came out in film festivals, it turns out it's not praising him. It's actually giving like a fair depiction of him, but they're not having it. So now they're saying that, like, this is preposterous, and they're going to try to like sue and blah
So
blah blah.
are they not releasing the movie
They
before
are. It's
election?
coming out. It's coming out next month, from what I understand.
Okay, so right before election.
I know, but apparently it's pretty even handed. I mean, it's the director that did Holy Spider, so it's like it's
Okay, yeah, that's right.
probably going to be good.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, Holy Spider was great. Like, that was.
I gotta see if that's on physical media.
I don't think it is. It's on Netflix though. For
Yeah,
anyone that's watching, Holy Spider on Netflix, check it out.
yeah,
Not an easy watch, but it's so good.
it was in my top 10 of that year.
Honorable mention for me, but it was close to like to making it. It was so good. Joseph Guerrero from Little Jacket is dark. Yes, war movie, but dark mixed. Yeah, and honestly, when I rewatched it, it's funny because I always was like, "Oh, the first half is comedy, the second half's really serious." But rewatching, I was like, "No, the elements of it being serious are there in the first half, but because there's some comedic elements that are like really, really funny, they take center stage." Film Kid Whiplash is my favorite film of all time. Love it. It's such a good film. Whiplash is awesome. I'm glad to see there's a lot of love for Whiplash. I'm gonna say this: I was one of the not first fans, but like I've been a fan of it since 2014, like in theaters. I'll never forget. I dragged two of my friends to see it, and they both loved it. Like going into it, they were like, "What's this movie about?" And I was like, "I have no clue. I think it's jazz or something." But I was it was like apparently take Full Metal Jacket.
It was your tempo.
Yes. But it's funny because I think the first time I saw it, like I'd have to go back to my Facebook review, but I'm pretty sure I thought the editing the first time I saw it that it was just okay. But like now I'm like, nah, the editing's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Hey guys, sorry for checking in late, but I can't stay for long. How's the short film going? Dude, it's my short film is I'll make it brief. My short film, there's one scene I still have to film, but it's looking like next year I'm gonna have to, shoot. Sergey short film. That's
It's still continuing.
still
In
continuing.
2 weeks, I got a new lead, so that's the third lead. But I have a lot of recasting, but it looks like it might happen. I just need to make sure to finish filming by November. Otherwise, it'll be pushed till next year.
Yeah, the
And it's a lot because it's in public. It's on a campus. There's gonna be hundreds of students. So maybe have to close off one road for actions. One action shop is there's a lot of traffic. How are you going to film some of this stuff? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited though.
Yeah.
Also, Ace Blitz uses a drumstick as a weapon. Just we're a big horror fan. Here in October and Halloween is coming. Yes, Film Kid. I've seen the pilot episode movie thing of Twin Peaks, and I really want to watch Firewalks, but I want to know if I should watch it. I think that if you were to watch Firewalk with me first, it's going to spoil certain things of the show. Personally, I would go with how I'm watching it, which is watching season 1 and 2 of Twin Peaks, then watching Twin Peaks Firewalk with me, then Twin Peaks The Return. But that's just me. I would recommend it. If you don't want the show spoiled for you, I would wait to watch Firewalk with me. Ghost of where I'm a sucker for found footage horror. I enjoy that niche. Blair Witch got me into that. Blair Witch is solid film. I need to rewatch it though. It's been like 8 years. So it's been a long time. Just where I can't stand politics. Think House of Cards, close to come to politics show or movie. Fun fact: politics are everywhere in movies and shows. It's just some are more subtle than others, but politics have always been in films. Like one of my favorites is like the Parallax View. Like that's from the 70s. Like the 70s especially was just like a really good time for like politics and films, especially because it's like there was so much happening with like Watergate, and that just kind of seeped into like all these other movies. The 1950s, that seeped into the 1960s with McCarthyism. So it's interesting. There's a lot. Like Citizen Kane is one of the greatest films of all time. That's all about politics. Godfather, politics. Godfather's politics are actually really interesting because they really dive into it like a lot, especially part 2. As a politics ad pops up, LMAO. Game of Thrones has politics as well. Yes, a lot of politics too. Just true that too. Yeah, honestly, like I hear sometimes people say like, "Oh, I don't like politics in movies," but it's like it's since the beginning of film. Like
maybe modern day politics.
I mean, even like Charlie Chaplin films, like they dive into like the politics of like the Great Depression. They do it, of course, in a comedic way, but it's still there. So it's like ever since the genre started. I mean, Night of the Living Dead, like horror. We talk about horror. Horror uses so many different analogies for like politics. I mean, like Get Out, Night of the Living Dead. Even The Shining. Like The Shining dives into like the politics of like racism. With that's why we see a lot of like imagery in The Shining of like Native Americans, pictures emphasizing black people, like stuff like that. I remember in film class we were talking about that too. The Shining was like a great film to talk about in film class, by the way, because there's so much like layers to that film and just getting all these different interpretations. Yeah. Film Kid. Oh, speaking of short films, I'm thinking about making a little bit over an hour long black and white feature film. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, I go for it, honestly. I always like seeing people's short films. Although yours I would consider honestly feature length, to be honest.
Yeah, an hour, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like an hour is definitely like feature length. I feel like that 45-minute, 50-minute is when it's like, okay,
Yeah.
short film, but it's a little bit longer. But when you're at an hour, like you can definitely make the argument of it being feature length. I mean, think about it. Tetsui the Iron Man, that was like what, 62 minutes?
Yeah, I mean that's full feature.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think mine's probably like 30 minutes, no more than 40 minutes.
Yeah, so yours would definitely be considered a short film then. Oh wait, let me first go. Andrew Lay, is it true that scripts are supposed to be 1 page per minute? Because how can people make short films with less than 40 pages? I just started writing something and it's already 50 pages. So from what I understand, I know it's changed, but when I was in like taking film classes, From what I understand, it's like 2 pages equals 1 minute. It's like something like that. Because you can have some pages where it's like if it's visual storytelling, you're literally just writing all the details of like the setting, like with what you want and everything, and like with what's
Yeah.
happening, as opposed to like certain scenes where it's like a character might be saying a line or two, but depending on the font you're using, there's a lot. There's a lot when it
Yeah.
comes to writing a script.
Yeah, because my short film has no dialogue, so it's
Right.
all like this is gonna happen here, this is gonna happen there. Turn the camera this way. Kind of just not a lot.
A great example, and usually my go-to, honestly, is The Social Network. I think the script was like, I think it was like 200 and something pages. So people thought it was going to be like a 2 hour and 45 minute film, but David Fincher legit said like, no, it's going to be 2 hours. It's because the way the characters were talking was super fast. So because it was super fast, a 200 plus page script ended up being 120 minutes exactly. So there's just a lot. There's a lot that goes into it.
Are you gonna be seeing Jesse Eisenberg's new movie?
I want to. I don't know when it's going to hit theaters though near us.
Yeah.
Honestly, in terms of Oscar buzz movies, I think the one I'm most excited for is The Brutalist. Have you heard
Yeah.
about that movie?
Yeah, it's like 3.5 hours long.
Yeah, and there's an intermission.
Yeah, I mean, we need an intermission, I think. Like
The fact that a
I'm one of
movie
those
has an
people
intermission,
that I'm one of those people that if I'm in the movie theater and I have to go in the bathroom, I will painfully suffer in the seat till the movie's
yeah.
over. I will not go to the bathroom.
And honestly, like I try to be, but the fact that there's an intermission, I think, is so nice. Like it's definitely a throwback film.
Yeah,
You know,
especially if it ends on like this kind of cliffhanger moment and people are like talking and discussing about what they saw. It's almost like if you go to opera or ballet or anything like that, you have intermission.
it's gonna be a really hard film to sell though, because it's like supposed to be really sad, really depressing. It's 3+ hours long,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
apparently
I
it's
know
amazing.
nothing about it. I just know Adrian Brody's in it, and it's about time he got back on the spotlight.
Apparently, it's The Godfather 1 and 2 mixed with The Pianist, and I'm all
I
for
love The
that.
Pianist. It's a great war film.
So good. Need to rewatch it. It's
Definitely
been a
watch it.
decade.
Roman Polanski.
It's a good example of separating the artist from
Yes.
the art.
Hmm.
Just a random movie, but have you seen the Bob Marley One Love movie? Thoughts? Sergey, you didn't see it, right?
Did that come out this year or last year? At this point, I don't
This,
even know.
this year.
Okay,
Yeah,
no,
FW.
I'm skipping it. I don't think it's getting any, buzz anyway.
Yeah, I
It's
saw it.
it's
It's
like I think it's gonna be like the Aretha Franklin movie
I
where
don't think it's gonna get any attention. It wasn't I didn't like it. I found it to be very disappointing. I think honestly my review was just literally one sentence. It was Bob Marley, one disappointment or something like that. Because it was just such a disappointing movie. Like it doesn't add anything at all. Like watching that movie, I didn't learn anything.
yeah. I mean, I totally forgot about the movie.
Me too. Until just now.
It's like I said, it's like that Respect movie. It seems like it's trying to be like an Oscar bait film, but it either came out too early. But then again, I don't even know the quality of the film, so it didn't really entice me with the trailers.
Oh my gosh. And we saw the trailer so many times in
Yeah,
theaters. Ace Paulette says, "Is the leftovers good? My friend has been hyping it up." Sergey, have you seen the leftovers?
I have not.
So I have. It's really good. Um, basically, for a frame of reference, it's taking the Bible, like the Book of Revelations. There's for those of you that don't know, in the Bible, there's the rapture that happens, which is basically when millions of people mysteriously disappear from the earth. And in the Bible, it's pretty much that it's all the Christians go away, go to heaven, and then all that remains is non-believers. So the show takes that concept, but instead of saying like, "Oh, these people are that disappear, they are Christians," it's like it doesn't say that. It makes it quite ambiguous as to why these individuals disappeared, like why this 2% of the world disappeared. So it's like a mystery show, but at the same time, it doesn't have the same answers that the Bible has. It goes about it in a very different way, and I think it's very fascinating. Like it does put religion, faith, cults. It puts all that stuff under the microscope in a very interesting way, and it does get interesting. I think the further the show goes. I will say, minor gripe of mine is that they changed the theme song from season 1 to 2 and 3 have like different ones, and I'm not a fan of the season 2 and 3 one. I think the season 1 theme song is amazing. Season 2 and 3, it has that like country twang to it that just like, oh, just like listening to it, it's like, dear God, shoot me now.
They tend to do that a lot with shows.
I don't know why. I really don't.
Was it Westworld? Did they? They changed the Yeah, they changed it a little bit, right?
They changed, well, not the theme song, but I think it was season 4. They added a little bit of a gangster twang to it, like early gangster films, like kind of twang to it. But that's because
Outlander was another show.
Outlander, I actually like the different theme songs though. But I think season 2 and 3 are like my favorite ones though.
I've only seen the first 2 seasons.
I think I saw the first. It was either 4 or 5, but I really like Outlander.
It's funny, but I recently watching a movie, and that's the score for the theme from the first season played. I'm like, where have I heard that show?
Oh wow,
it's a good theme. It was some Australian movie, I think I was watching.
It's so good. Let me see. Film Kid says my top 5 most anticipated movies the rest of the year: Megalopolis, Lord of the Rings 2024, Nosferatu, Gladiator 2, and Terrifier 3. All very fair choices. Terrifier, I actually haven't seen 1 and 2.
I haven't seen it either.
Do you think you'll watch it?
Well, I mean, I'd probably watch it next year or something. You know, for my Halloween challenge at this point. It's like a newer horror series, so I don't really know anything about it. It's funny because the people I ran into in the movie theater that I was talking about with Speak No Evil, one of them was wearing a Terrifier shirt, and they were excited for it.
Apparently, that franchise is like really violent, from what I understand. Like
we're getting a popcorn bucket for the Terrifier. I know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm playing around with the idea of possibly watching 1 and 2, like, and seeing the third one in theaters. I'm not 100% sure. Like, it's one of those film franchises I'm kind of scared of. It's like the Human Centipede. I'm kind of scared to watch it, you know? Like,
oh, is it like on that level?
Apparently. Like, from what I understand, I could be wrong, but apparently there's a scene where someone's face gets, like, ripped apart, and then, like, they wear the skin, like, almost like Hannibal Lecter, but at least with Hannibal Lecter, like, but at least with Silence of the Lambs, they don't show it. Like, they only show him, like, taking it off briefly. But, like, this, apparently, it's an extended scene. So it's like, you know, and I've heard there's a lot worse stuff in it, too. But I've heard of that scene.
Like Human Centipede level?
From what I understand. Again, I could be wrong. If anybody in the comment section has seen Terrifier 1 and 2, let me know if, like...
But, Chad, you should be used to that, you know, given you watch, like, Antichrist and Salo and all these other movies.
Yeah, but how many times have I seen those? Like, I have to be in a certain...
You said the cinematography was amazing.
In Salo, yeah, but, like, I only
and the
saw
score, too.
The score by Ennio Morricone was pretty amazing.
And you rewatched 12 Years a Slave, like,
12 Years a Slave is one that I do rewatch. I do love that film. But it's
not for the reasons you think.
Oh, gosh. No, but something like Antichrist, I've seen twice, but like I have to be in a certain mood to watch that. Like, and Salo even more so. Like I have to be in a weird mood, like, for that. Like, 'cause that's what I'm saying. Like with Terrifier, like I know that it's a movie that I'm not going to be able to eat my dinner to, so it's like, you know.
Plus, you've seen Gummo, so you'll be fine.
But Gummo's a different flavor. Like, that's just weird people doing weird stuff. It's nothing like gross or anything. Like, I don't know. Certain violence I know can kind of get to me, like medical related stuff too.
So you're not a fan of the Saw films?
I've only seen the first one, and what was it, Jigsaw? The one with Chris Rock. I only
like the first one.
I liked it better when it was called Seven, but no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No,
But
you already used that one on the Batman. You can't use it again.
it's much more applicable in all seriousness with Saul, though. It wants to be Seven so bad. It's not bad though. It's just enjoyable. Film kit. I have two ideas for two features. One of them is called POV. It's a movie where you're literally through the perspective of a person, and one of them is called A Day in the Life and a Life Kit. Oh, nice, man. I will be curious to see them if you do make them. Andrew, I can relax then. I can go crazy writing now. LOL. I know it's also a no-no to direct a movie from the script, so I already removed 20 pages of pure direction, though. Hey, everyone's different. But I do know that if you're writing and directing, then it definitely helps. But if you're writing the script and someone else is directing it, then yeah, it's like one of those things where a director is not probably going to want to have directing notes from a writer because it's two different things. Disagree. Okay, going to head out, watch Fair Play to Bed, movie 2 of 3 I told you earlier. Yes. Glad that you're going to be watching it. Let me know how you like it. It's really good. I remember I recommended it to Sergey. Sergey really liked it too.
I think it was in my top 10.
So good. Film kid, I said Christian Life of Brian really pushed my button sometimes. As of instead of I said sorry. That's all good, man. Yeah, Life of Brian, that was like a controversial film when it first came out. Last Temptation of Christ also was like a film that was controversial when it came out, even though that film is like, it's not bashing Christianity. If anything, it's like a very spiritual film.
Yeah,
In fact, my God's Not Dead 5 review, I even used Last Temptation of Christ as an example where it's like Last Temptation of Christ is a film that brings about a lot of discussion about faith. It's not critiquing it, it's bringing about discussion. And like that's what film is. Like it should be at least. Split sounds awesome. Thanks for explaining. Of course. Film kid, Human Centipede is much worse than Terrifier. I haven't seen either of them, but I've seen bits and pieces of all the movies, and from what it looks like, Human Centipede is much worse, especially Human Centipede 2. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I only have the one image of the famous scene of just the image of them pretty much
the train thing. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Do you think you would ever watch Human Centipede, Sergey?
Maybe. I don't know.
We should make that a movie night. Actually, let me see if it's even on streaming.
How many are there?
I think there's like 3 Human Centipede movies.
Okay. I mean, I'm far behind on a lot of like horror films, so maybe that would be. But I still need to see the Hostel movies and.
Yeah, I haven't seen those. I think I might actually watch this upcoming. Oh, Human Centipede first sequence is on AMC Plus, which it's 12:48 a.m. right now. So my AMC Plus membership is actually expiring right now.
So watch it right now. Right before you go to bed.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like even just the poster, like it's just like I don't know, like it doesn't exactly say. Yeah, I don't know.
It's just grotesque.
The ratings are great. 4.4 out of 10 on IMDb. That's some quality ratings right there.
Just despisable characters and just grotesque horror. It's not my thing.
Well, it's rated R for disturbing, sadistic horror, violence, nudity, and language.
I remember I hated the Rob Zombie Halloween for all kind of similar reasons.
Listen to this, though. Unlike its obvious influence, the 1999 Japanese shocker Audition, the Human Centipede has no real-world echoes. It's only in the movie sick goof.
I actually like I recently reviewed Audition on Letterboxd.
I know. I'm glad that you liked that movie because that's a fantastic film.
It's a movie that changes. Like it's not what it starts out to be.
Unfortunately, it kickstarted an entire subgenre that kind of missed the point of Audition. Like Audition isn't impactful because it's nonstop, torture. It's impactful because it leads up to a torture. So it kickstarted the torture porn genre, but like it's not inherently a torture porn film.
Yeah, which
It's
is
not
what I was
burlesque.
thinking Funny Games was going to be, and I'm glad it wasn't. Like
Yeah, no,
it
it's
gave
not.
its
It's
time
if
to.
anything, it's a critique of
Yeah.
the genre. Let's see. Let's as someone who hasn't watched it yet, is it true the House of Cards ending is terrible?
I haven't even finished it, so yeah.
The way people feel about Game of Thrones ending, which I disagree about, is how I feel about House of Cards ending. I'll just say this: I think it was 6 seasons long. The season 5 finale could have easily been the finale of the show.
Yeah.
Season 6 it's pretty bad. There's a certain character that pretty much admits to killing Frank Underwood, and it makes no sense at all, like at all. And it's just like, really, what the heck? Like, I don't know. It's a baffling final season. Like I thought at first the reviews were just because it's focusing on a woman, but it's not that.
No.
It's just genuinely not good.
It's not the true vision the showmakers had, and because of certain situations outside of the show, they have to change course correct, and it just defeats the whole 5 seasons worth of development is thrown out the window almost. I don't want to watch it because of that.
Well, and I would also say, like for me, I own seasons 1 to 3, but I would argue that the season 2 finale works as a series finale. Not going to spoil it, but it's pretty awesome. And fun fact: the season 2 finale, the last like minute when a certain character like bangs on the desk, that's the startups. Like that sound effect, that's the startup to Netflix. Like when you click on the app, that sound effect comes from House of Cards. That episode. So fun fact.
And that was the first, I think, Netflix like binge worthy where the title came
Mm-hmm.
from. So
And it legitimized
yeah,
the streaming services like an actual show that could go head to head with other
yeah,
shows. It was also the first streaming show that got nominated like at the Emmys, from what I understand.
yeah. Such a shame. It's Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we're gonna get another Christmas video from him this year.
Did you
Stay
watch
tuned.
a documentary, or what did you watch?
Yeah, it was a documentary about all the people he basically sexually assaulted, like not only in America but overseas. So you get to hear like the perspectives of the people that were affected by him, and all their stories are very similar. So it's one of those things where I of course believe them because it's so similar. Like it sounds like he had a method of actually going about talking to these people and just using his power to unfortunately take advantage of people. And it's a shame. It really is. I do kind of wonder if it's going to be like a Bill Cosby show. I mean, not Bill Cosby show, but Bill Cosby incident, where it's like he then ends up making it back into the limelight and just is able to start from where he once was.
Or just be in Europe and make films there?
Yeah, it could be. But again, I like Kevin Spacey as an actor, as a
Yeah,
person.
yeah,
Nah. But it's funny because Kevin Spacey and Donald Trump are two individuals where it's like their past, I feel bad for their past, like with how they grew up, but it doesn't excuse the fact that they both ended up becoming, objectively speaking, monsters. Andrew Lay, I got solid ideas for at least 6 movies, and I'm developing 2 more. The 6 are a sci-fi epic, fantasy, crime drama, and 3 in a thematic trilogy, historical biopic, war epic, and survival thriller. I like these genre ideas. I feel like we need more war epics. That's a genre that I miss.
those require big budgets. So I don't know.
It's true. Film Kid, what's audition? The best way I'll pitch it is this. So I filmed today. I last year I did my top 100 films of all time. So I'm planning to do my top 101 to top 250. Today I filmed my top 201 to 250. One of them, spoiler alert, is Audition. And I don't show the front cover of the Blu-ray that I own, and I don't even say what it's about because you want to just put it on. Avoid the front cover, avoid what the premise is, just put it on. I promise you it will be worth it. The front cover spoils certain things. The premise kind of does as well because it kind of lets you know what the final 15 minutes are. But if you go into that film knowing nothing, the way I did the first time, you're going to be blown away. Sergey, I think you didn't know anything about it going into, right?
I
Like
mean, I saw the cover. I mean, it's
uh,
really hard to not see a cover, especially
I
when
know. It
even
just I really wish that they didn't have that as the front cover though, because it's just like it's spoilerific.
yeah,
Like if anything, I think that they should have had the picture of like, it's one of the early shots where it's like the girl in the seat
yeah,
and like she's like this. Like I think that should have been the front cover. Like I
yeah,
know people would have been like, what the heck is this? But like it would have preserved the surprises.
right.
But
Yeah, and don't go read anything on Letterboxd, the little
yes.
descriptions either, which I did
Letterboxd is
read. I
notorious
did
with
read it, so
oh
I
that's
already knew everything, but I still enjoyed it. But I
it's
was
a
waiting for it. So I was like, all right, well, when's that gonna happen?
dude, that scene with the did I the scene with the old man and the bowl and he was again trying to be vague here for other people, but did you know that was actually real? Like, no joke.
Was it?
Like, yes, it's infamous.
Why?
Like, I don't know, but like, yeah, it's insane. Like the film was insane. That director also did a film called what's it called? Itchy what's it called? Itchy
Oh,
the
I have that on my watch list. My coworker kept talking about it.
it's
Uh,
a movie, dude. It's a movie.
yeah, what is it called? Ichi the Killer. Yeah.
Yeah. To give you an idea on what kind of movie it is, it starts off with literally someone. Just gonna say this, I might get demonetized for this video, but someone literally ejaculates, and the sperm is literally seeping down onto plants, and then literally the title card is shown on the sperm. I'm just like, huh. And also, I'm like looking, I'm like, that doesn't look fake. And of course, this director literally used real, like, I'm just like, dude, like, that they have like departments for this where you can actually fake this. So you don't actually have
It
to
was
do
it was cheaper this way. It was his.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was, but that is like an IMDb trivia where it's like, oh, that was real. And I was like, that makes sense because
Wonder how many takes it took.
gotta make sure it gets on the plant this way. Make sure it's this particular one, so that way the camera.
Send in the next one.
I'll be curious to hear your thoughts on that movie because it's insane. Like I thought I was gonna love it, but I just thought it was okay.
Okay.
It got to a point where I was just like, okay, got it. Film kid, my parents liked House of Cards. It's good to hear. I'd recommend it, man.
I liked it. I own every season except the last one.
The last one. Ace Plus, should I watch the first two seasons? Yeah, I would say watch the first two seasons. Season 2, it ends on a very satisfying note. Pretty much, like, the series starts with the main character wanting to do a certain thing, and whether he, completes that one thing that he wants or not, kind of gets answered by season 2. And then the rest of the seasons are pretty much diminishing returns where it's like it works, but it just isn't as good in my opinion. But I still like season 3, 4, and 5. But if you want the high quality of like House of Cards, season 1 and 2 are like the top notch in my opinion. And season 2, also the premiere of that is just wild. Like that first episode of season 2, it's like something happens that you would think would happen in like a series finale, not a series premiere.
Also, a show with a good opening theme.
Oh yeah, that opening theme is amazing. And also, David Fincher, like he had a lot to do with the show, and it shows because the visual style is just so good, so meticulous. This is a shame Kevin Spacey is such a bad person, considering he's a great actor. Yeah, man, it's just like Roman Polanski, like incredible director, but as an individual, not good, not good. But that's why when I always hear people say like with Harvey Weinstein, where it's like, oh, I'm not going to watch the films he's produced, and it's
It's
like,
like, yeah,
you're
it's
not going
like,
to be able to watch Lord of the Rings then.
and Miramax is still exists.
Still exists, still producing films.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're missing out. Agreed. We need more war epics. I saw the trailer for The Thin Red Line recently, thinking I'd never seen it, but realized halfway through I already saw it. That's my favorite war film. I
Really?
love that film.
Okay. Mine is The Pianist. So
Pianist is really good.
yeah, I seen the Thin Red Line. Now there's also a Thin Blue Line.
I've not
Completely
seen it,
different
but I
movie.
think it's Criterion,
Yeah.
right?
Well, they're both on Criterion.
It's true. It's true. Film Kid. Now you make me want to watch Audition, but what's in it? Let me see what it's on.
I
What's
don't
in it
know.
though? I would just say this: I would not recommend watching it with your parents.
No. Well, maybe the first half of the film.
Yeah, it is on streaming. It's on AMC Plus. It's on Fandor, Screenbox. It's on Tubi.
Tubi. I think that's where I watched it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, there's content wise, there's really not much until the last 15 minutes. But the last 15 minutes, it is hard to watch. I mean, my wife is literally a nurse and can handle a lot of stuff, but she had difficulty with the last 10 minutes. And it's understandable. It is hard to watch.
Yeah.
Especially because it's, without spoiling anything, it's slow with what happens.
Yeah.
It's such a good film. It was on TV when I was a kid all the time under a different title. Guadalcanal, which my parents said I was too young to see, but I watched anyways when they were at home. Oh gosh. Man, I couldn't imagine watching that as a kid though. Like, because that film, I feel like if I watched it too young, like I think I would have probably found it to be too slow and meandering. But like watching it with more seasoned eyes, like I think I first saw it 6 years ago, and I was like, this is really good at building tension. And also just shows that you need to be careful, you know. Ace Plus is a true Twin Peaks is one of the best pilots. For me, I think so. I think I have that in my top 10 pilots on my list that I did years back. I love it, honestly. I of course just rewatched it recently, and it's so good. Is it in dub? I don't know. I don't watch stuff in dub personally, but it's I know it's in sub for sure with like a lot of them, but I don't know if it's dubbed. Subs though, choose subs. Honestly, if you're watching your parents are around, if it's subbed, it'll be a lot easier though too, because you can like get around that. Subs, not dubs. Audition's so good. Hard film though to watch.
I've seen worse.
I mean, violence wise, I think the psychological aspect is what really kind of got to me though. Is Battle Royale good? Sergey, have you seen Battle Royale?
Surprisingly, no.
It's solid. I saw it 6+ years ago. Haven't really thought about it since, but it's fine. But all right, guys, I think we're gonna wrap the stream up. Next week, I might be streaming with Sergey on a different date. I'm still trying to decide that because next Saturday we're actually going to be doing a movie night at my one friend's. So next Saturday we will not be streaming, but like I said, I'll try to figure out another day to do the stream. So I'll keep you guys posted about that. But I really appreciate you guys for watching, and you guys are the best. So, Sergey, do you have anything to add?
No. Wait for the next time we see each other.
Yeah, man. French Connection and Tucker. I'm excited. But all right, guys. I hope you guys have a good rest of your night, and we'll catch you guys later.
Later, guys.